like you people never know what they're capable of until they're tested. You know what I mean? And like that's one thing I always say. I like people who fucked up and like paid their dues and like came back. Like I always got more respect for those people. And people are like, oh man, why are you giving that guy another chance? Like because he's proven that he's deserving of one. He's been tested. You know, he walked through the fires. Yeah, he got burned a little bit, but he's still here. You haven't been fucking tested. I don't know what's gonna happen when the shit goes south. You know, you might fucking run home.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? This is Dante coming back again with another episode of Off the Mats podcast. Previous episode, I was testing out some new microphones. It was a little funky with the sound, so I went back to the old standards. So it should be business as usual. So this week's guest is a good friend of mine, and I know you all probably think all my friends come from Instagram. I do actually have friends in real life. So
that's right. That's right. You keep them all on salary, you know.
Well, that's what my grandma always told me. You know, keep paying them and they'll keep showing up. So, my guest today is a good friend. I'm an old friend, actually. In real life, we've worked in the past on previous podcasts. Always been there, you know, at get-togethers. And he's on this episode. We're going to talk about some martial arts. We're going to talk about defensive tactics, law enforcement, things of that nature. So my guest this week is going to be my good friend Adam Russman. What's going on, Adam? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just got home. You got me in the nick of time because you ever have one of those days at work, you're just like, I can't wait to go home and like drink beer and do whatever. And then like all of a sudden your buddy's like, hey man, where you at? You're supposed to meet us like 20 minutes ago. And you're actually like, and that was almost me in the podcast. I was on the phone with my mom, my youngest, my baby sister. I've got two younger sisters. She just had her second daughter, but since my wife had COVID, we haven't been able to go visit yet. So I was getting like the baby update, and like I saw your text message, like, oh shit, I gotta go. I thought I was late. So I'm not late. That means I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. I was actually all day kind of hanging out. I took days off for my birthday. So I was like, all right, I'm taking some time off from work. I want to reset. And I've been just sitting on the couch all day watching Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers and, you know, just being goofy with my daughter. And then I looked at my phone and saw the time. I was like, oh shit, I got to go set up.
Adam's probably waiting for me. Little did you know. Hey, bro, how crazy is it that Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Magnum PI, and Indiana Jones? So I just found that out like 3 months ago, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
I saw it a couple months back, and I was like, no, it's not. And now, you know, I'm looking, and I was like, holy shit, it is.
But I mean, I think they really kind of insulted Tom's. I can see Chip being Indiana Jones. Like I can get like they're both like the tenacity of both of those characters is kind of on the same level. But like Dale's kind of a goof, and I never felt like Magnum PI was a goof. I think he kind of got the short end of the stick on that one. You know, like if I was Tom Selleck, I'd be upset. That's all I'm going to say.
So I agree with that. And I look at, and I start thinking, it's like, all right, if they're going to go that route, you know, if anyone's going to have the mustache, I felt like Chip would have the mustache.
Yeah.
Like he just looks like a mustache kind of guy. But you know what? Then you make Indy, you know, you making him a goofy guy if you give Dale the Indiana Jones style. So, and I don't think it goes either way. But
no, it
I don't know.
Work,
honestly, if I'm Tom Selleck, I'm probably considering taking legal action. So
I'm
that kind of guy.
But that mustache is just too cool. It's just like that mustache. Like, man, don't worry about it. Everything's all good.
I train with a guy who has more chest hair than there's hair on anyone's head, and he, for a brief moment, he went with the mustache, and I was calling him Magnum, and it was just like, dude, just embrace that mustache. There's if you have it,
Armenian guy.
No, white dude.
Oh, okay, all right,
So,
all right. I'm calling me surprised.
Trust me, me too.
Nope, just plain old white dude, old fashioned white dude. So
No,
anyway,
I
well,
looked at one of our.
happy belated birthday again.
Thank you. 40, 43. Yeah, that seems like the right number. We're gonna go with 43. Yeah, it is 43 because I got some message on my phone talking about 10 tips that any 43-year-old should be doing right now, money tips. And I was like, wait, like how does this fucking phone? Yo, they're sending me advertisements based on my age now.
Dude, Baskin Robbins knows, man.
It's
They always
fucking
do.
creepy.
my first credit card that I got had my birth for whatever, like I scribbled my birth date in there for like an application. I got it, and it had my birth date as 1950, right?
Mm.
Like whoever transcribed it. So and this is like right at the very, the late 90s, the very establishment of like the internet and all this data being electronically, between different businesses and stuff like that. So forever I've been getting AARP stuff, like to the point, like if you do one of those, like, you pay $5 internet searches, it still has like my birth date is 1950. So I'm like, dude, I'm getting to the point now I can start collecting Social Security on that shit now. Like Uncle Sam probably legitimately thinks, that I'm 70 some years old, right? I should,
Hey,
I mean,
run
that makes
with it.
sense, right? I know.
Like,
So
every time I see some kind of a slip up, I try to play it along until they tell me that it's wrong. The mixer that I have for the podcast and stuff, I've received everything perfectly fine, but they keep sending me emails telling me that, hey, our records show that you still haven't gotten your equipment. Do you want a refund? And no, they asked, do you want a refund or do you want a replacement mixer? And I didn't want to do the refund because I felt like that might get a little slippery. And I asked them for a mixer, and then they're like, okay, we'll do it. And they haven't done it. So I think they figured it out. So I'm just going to let it be what it is, dude. Fuck them.
yeah, man.
But,
So
yeah.
I got one question for you, man.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the Snyder Cut of the Justice League?
Absolutely.
Bro, I'm like, I know this isn't a nerd podcast, but I mean, I guess you get into
The fuck
whatever
if it
topics
isn't.
you get in whatever topics you want to get into. Yeah, man, I'm super stoked. March 18th can't get here fast enough.
Yeah.
4 hours, because I don't think they're doing it like an episode that they originally thought they were going to do it. Now it's just gonna be like a 4-hour movie.
The info keeps changing, but it sounds like it's just going to be a straight shot.
Nice.
But I don't know what we're going to get, but I know come the 18th, I'm working by myself on 18th, and usually that's a quiet day at work. There's a good chance that's what I'm doing.
Bro, I'm thinking about taking off of work on the 18th.
Ooh, no. I think I am. No, I'm off on the 19th. Never mind.
Because the 18th is a Thursday, funny enough, right?
Yeah, that's what was weird about it, because that comes out on the 18th, and then the next day is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Awesome.
That starts on Disney Plus, and I was like, wow, that's, well, you know what, back-to-back days, I'll go with it.
Well, you know why I'm a fucked up friend? Like, a buddy of mine's getting married, but he's getting married out of state, and anytime it's out of state, like, wedding, like, I mean, it's going to cost me $1,000 to go to this guy's wedding, right? And I'm all good. Like, I'm okay with $1,000. But you know what makes me a shitty friend? When I found out, like, oh shit, that's the same wedding that Mike's having his wedding. Or the same date Mike's having his wedding. It's like, oh man, I really want to watch that that Justice League movie. But then I realized it was a Thursday because we were flying out Friday. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to make it. I was like, hey, bro, I almost skipped your wedding to watch Justice League that I could have watched anywhere I was at because I have HBO Plus on any streaming device or whatever. But yeah, I'm really excited, man. I really hope that this gets the DC extended universe like back in the right direction, which I think it will. For sure.
So I don't. There's a lot of questions though about it. Not just that, but just the DC cinematic universe in general, because we have Matt Reeves' Batman with Robert Pattinson coming up, and where does that fit into anything? Or are they just going to do much like they did with Joker? That's just a one-off by itself. and we're not going to connect it to any of this bigger universe. Also, I would imagine if the Snyder Cut does, what I think is going to do, which I think it'll do well, will they then decide, okay, well, let's go with more?
Yeah.
Because
well, I think so. So what I understand with that is that, first off, the Batman, whatever Mike Reeves, whatever his name is, the director, the
yeah.
Pattinson movie,
Mhm.
that's in danger apparently, because
Yeah.
because the Batmobile, the Batmobile has a function that not many people know about. If you put quarters into it, it vibrates. So
Has a fold out bed.
that's right. And it has a lube dispensary on the back of it, so there's some issues going on in that production, and then because of COVID, and then Pattinson like refused to work out and all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
But they got Henry Cavill signed for 3 more movies, and
I'm excited
now,
for that.
yeah, and now they're in talks with Ben Affleck again to do some Deathstroke versus Batman movie, and Ben Affleck is definitely going to be in Flashpoint. I think that there's an avenue for us to see Zack Snyder's original vision of the DCU. And it's funny, man, because recently I just got HBO Go, which is the best money I've spent. I mean, I'm a Netflix guy. I got Disney Plus. I think we dropped Hulu because we're not watching enough.
Mhm.
But I when I work out, I usually have like HBO Max playing in my gym. And I just finished watching Man of Steel, and then they had the fucking the extended cut of BVS, which I understand the criticism of BVS, and a lot of them are valid, but the director's cut makes it like a fucking 100% better.
It almost makes it a different movie when you get all that.
For
When
sure.
you get the extra stuff and everything's in context. Now it's a different movie.
I think the icing on the cake would make what's his face, Lex Luthor. What's the guy's name? The actor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Like you find out that he really is the Riddler. We talked about this before. Like he really is the Riddler. Yeah. Like he's taken out. Somehow he took out Luthor and pretended to be his son, or something. And you find out, and then you like bring the old Bryan Cranston in as the real Lex Luthor. But I mean they've gone too far away from that, because I think that was the original concept, is it had the Riddler and Eisenberg's kind of weird. He's kind of growing on me. Like I still don't like him, but I can see how, like, generations from now, I think people will love his performance. I know that sounds crazy, but those strange performances, like years down the line, just kind of becomes like a pulp type, like you know what I mean, A Nightmare Before Christmas is a good example. Like people just fucking love that movie, and it's fine. It's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it when I saw, but it's always been one of those movies for me. I'm like, you guys love this a lot more than I think it deserves to be loved. Not saying it's a bad movie, and don't fucking come and hunt me down, But I think people are gonna feel that way about BVS, like how people feel about Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Like I think it's gonna be one of those movements, and if the DC universe keeps on going the way it's going, so
I think. Hopefully, so I thought about this with Matt Reeves, his version of Batman, because Riddler's supposed to be the villain there.
Yeah.
The main villain, and he was actually at the helm anyway before they moved to Robert Pattinson, where it was supposed to still be Affleck. So it would seem like, as things kind of connect, when you connect all those dots, it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that, the whole Riddler thing from BVS, could have been a possibility, just, when you put that connection there. But yeah, like I said, they're probably just so far away from it now that they're just going to go with what they're going to go with moving forward.
Well, could you imagine if they recast Ben Affleck to do the Batman again and just reshot all the scenes? They've done that before, like Back to the Future. They
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
completed the whole movie with the original actor, and they're like, "Nah, fuck this guy. We want to hire a new main and like reshot everything on Michael J. Fox." You know,
yeah.
that'd
Actually,
be nuts.
it's weird seeing pictures with the original was Eric Stoltz.
Yeah,
It's weird seeing the original pictures of Back to the Future with him in it, and just it just looked eerie.
yeah.
It looked unnatural, and
It
maybe
looks
because we're
it
just
looks
used to Michael J. Fox.
it looks dopey. That's the only reason I could
Yeah.
say. You're so charmed by that film, you don't realize that. And then, dude, I'm not. Back to the Future is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, I've got
Uh-huh.
you know, a fucking 1/6 scale DeLorean, um, and but like it is kind of a goofy. There's some goofy aspects of that movie, and it shouldn't work, but it does work, and which makes it so brilliant. So anyway, I don't know, but I mean, yeah, dude, I can't wait for Justice League. I'm super excited about that. There'll probably be some good fight scenes in it. See, I
Oh,
came
it's
back with the
Snyder,
whole fight
so
theme.
definitely.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know.
I,
I've always liked Snyder as a filmmaker. So I think the action is going to be as expected.
yeah. And Steppenwolf looks fucking badass. I like the way he looks. I don't mind the way Darkseid looks. Um, so yeah, I'm stoked, bro. I can't wait. Can't
Um,
wait.
Even with shit, what the fuck are we talking about? Justice League. Even with Justice League, the Snyder cut coming out, again, we still have, a sequel for Aquaman coming up. We just had Wonder Woman 84. I don't think that Matt Reeves Batman is in this world, but DC, they're making, you got Shazam,
Yeah,
Shazam 2 coming up. So DC,
and you got
you know,
Flashpoint. Flashpoint just
oh
started
yeah,
filming.
and Flashpoint. Duh. They're moving in a direction where I always feel this way with Warner Brothers. Like, look, they have three of the most iconic superheroes in the history of superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
With the Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, it has to work.
The Holy Trinity. Yes, I've heard of it. Continue.
The only Trinity.
The only Trinity.
Trust me, we're not afraid to be blasphemous on this podcast.
You're going to hell. People down, man.
Well,
so many other things.
Yeah, but they've got those three characters. It's just like it has to work.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you look over at Marvel Studios, even before Disney bought them out, they had characters that no one cared about. Iron Man, no one cared about Captain America.
Bro, when we were kids, fucking Iron Man was fucking garbage. Like, somebody's like, "Hey man, hey, you want to trade some comic books? Sure. What do you got? I got a Captain America Iron Man. Anybody want to be like, fuck no. If it's not Spider-Man or X-Men, you can suck a dick. You know what I mean?
I had one Iron Man
Fantastic
comic.
Four, get out of here. Yeah, I had one Iron Man comic too because it has Spider-Man in it. Only reason I bought that motherfucker. So I probably still have it someplace.
I have just all these comics here that, like, whenever Maryland Phil comes over, he sees the short boxes of comics, and he'll catch eye of something. He gets excited. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be honest. Out of all those comics there, I've probably read 7 pages of each. Mm-hmm. Like I never finish a comic, and it's very sad. Well, I read through all of The Walking Dead, so that's about it. But otherwise,
that's work for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they okie doked me when I did the digital free copy. I read issue 1, and I was like, well, that was good. Then I bought the trade, which was $5 because they had a little sale going on. And then after the sale ended, I had already spent $50 on trades. So I looked at Sarah. I was like, dude, I'm in. I got to get more. So, and I've been there since. But
I think the last comic I got was, I think Marilyn Phil bought me like the Batman Catwoman like marriage, and that's it, man. I'm so satisfied from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like that energy requirement of my life is being fulfilled by that. I don't really need, like, I might have bought some graphic novels maybe like 2 years ago. I went like I went like, hey man, we're the nice hardback, give me the bougie comic books, the nice hardback fucking graphic novels. I want to waste money, I bought like two Thors and an Iron Man. No, two Thors and a Spider Man because I wanted to read up on like the Doc Ock. Like I didn't know that storyline. I got about
Oh yeah.
halfway into that one, fucking put it aside, and then I had the Thor Odinson, like the God Killer series,
Okay.
which I think
Yep.
the new Thor is going to be based off. Got about 2/3 through that, put it down, and the other one still got plastic wrap on it, man. I'm so satisfied. Like the era of comic books that I love the most, probably from like '98 to like I don't know 2012, 2000 maybe 2010, like that
Okay.
12-year span. And that's kind of where we're at in the cinematic universe. You know, I mean, with the
Yeah.
exception, I mean, like, and I guess Civil War is like the big linchpin of that. Like, those are the story arcs we're seeing. Like, I'm good, man. Like the kids can't wait till I get home on Friday so we can watch WandaVision. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yep.
even though I think Joe KW's like theory of like wait until it's all done and watch it in one foul swoop because WandaVision is fucking. They can suck my dick on these fucking cliffhangers. I mean, I love it thus far, but that shit is not necessary. Give me a little bit more, all right? Then stand by. I'm like, I saw a good meme. It was like the Captain America picking up the hammer scene
Mhm.
in Endgame, and the hammer gets thrown, and then all of a sudden, Thanos turns around and see what it is, and it's the WandaVision. We'll be right back. And it was like if Endgame was
Dude.
written by the WandaVision people, and I'm like, yes, man, fuck that. Give me some more, man.
So normally I'm in for, doing the weekly thing. It gives me something to look forward to, but I agree. Well, I think what bugs me with the WandaVision just weekly is that the episodes are so short. So
Yeah, the
it just
last three are all supposed to be an hour apparently, so
so
I'm happy with that.
from what I understood, it was supposed to be 9 episodes, and then the last three supposed to be an hour, but then this was just episode 7. It was 37 minutes. So I'm thinking maybe we got okie doke, and there's going to be 10 episodes, and then these next three. I'm hoping that's the case. Um,
Maybe, yeah. Oh yeah,
but
there's only two left. Fuck. Huh.
but but yeah, as far as comic books go, yeah, I went to out to Third Eye in Annapolis, picked up. Well, I don't know what the fuck did I buy. I got an action figure, and I know I bought some comics. I just can't remember right now. Oh, Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin. But I tried to look at.
Is a trade for that out yet?
No, they're only on book 2 right now.
I will pick that up. I will pick
Yeah,
that up.
like I'm kind of regretting picking up 1 and 2 because I'm
Mm.
like I should just trade weight it now, but
Yeah.
I'm committed, so now I got to wait it out. But I'm hard like pressed to
Hmm.
look at any of the Flights and Tights because we're getting the movies, we're getting the TV shows, and then trying to pick up the comics and read them. It just doesn't. In the comics get at a point now, and maybe it's just because I'm older now that it's just a little. I don't want to say
I,
goofy, but it is.
I think they're getting too. I think they're going too far. It's too raff. Like
Yeah.
the meta story involved and stuff. Like there's this one Superman book I picked up and I was thumbing through, and basically it's like a robot Superman that his superpower is the he's the meta of the ideal of Superman or the good guy. So whatever power he needs to beat the bad guy, he will always have. So it's like it's like that One Punch Man scenario. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So like his new power is to always win. And I'm just like that's fucking dumb, bro.
Yeah. Who the
Like
fuck's
it get
writing these things?
yeah, but it like it gets into like this metaphysical like we're it identifies that there's many universes and some of the universes observe the other universes. So like it like kind of it pseudo breaks the fourth wall to realize that there's layers of existence and consciousness and shit like that. So it's kind of cool how it gets into like that metaphysical concept. But at the end, it's like, oh, y'all just doing a One Punch Man. Y'all just want to end that
Yeah.
Goku versus Superman argument forever. You know what I mean?
So
And
there was
it's just
something.
too much, man.
There was something last year, maybe I'm not sure in time frame now. just COVID knocked out a whole year for the world. So I don't even know what year we were in, but there was something that was going on in DC where Lois Lane, she's aware of the multiverse, like all the other versions of Superman
Oh
herself.
yeah, I remember that. I do recall something about that. That was that with Doctor Manhattan? That one with
I'm not sure. Believe it or not, I actually read an article, and well, I'm sorry, I'm lying. I read the first like 3 lines of the article, but that's what I saw. And I was like, oh, okay, I get the idea.
I used to get sleepy after the third period myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just right to bed. I vaguely remember something because every once in a while now I'll get like on you. I had that YouTube Red or whatever for a while, where you could like turn your phone off and still listen to it. And I was knocking out some like the comic book, like what's the deal with X-Men, Geonosis or whatever,
Yeah.
and just like some of those guys do a phenomenal job. They probably they're not gonna get enough credit from me because I can't remember their fucking names. This one guy's got a great voice, like a really deep baritone voice. I'm like, man, I could listen to you. Can you just like call me up and talk to me to go to bed and whatnot? But just knocking that out, driving to and from work for a while. But then I didn't want to pay the $2.99, so because I can be cheap like that sometimes. I got rid of it. But dude, that's my comic book updates, man. But I guess we should start talking about fighting at one point.
Yeah. I mean, we're about 25 minutes in, so like,
is that the like when do we talk about our nerd weeks, man? Just let me know when it's my turn. I got about a year and a half of backup, so I've kept my list up to date though.
better than me. I actually just went on Nerd Rage the other day and was like, shit, I don't like every time it's like a nerd quarter. So then I started writing notes, like physical notes, and went on, and then I didn't even go over the full list. And I was just like, let's hit the sweet spots. But
you gotta hit the highlights, man.
Like I said, like whatever, we just kind of go where we go on here. But yeah, let's get into into the world of self-defense, fighting, and grappling. Especially more so on your end. As we were talking earlier on, because you have experience with the K9 units, correct?
Yeah, the K9s, defensive tactics, firearms. I did martial arts pretty much all through my younger time. I guess I'll give you a little background on that. I mean, so my mom actually got us into it when we were little kids, and we did that at like the local school for a while. It's like the taekwondo bullshit you do like when you're fucking 8. I mean, and the one thing I would say is it's great to get kids in there to like get flexible and flexibility. Now that I'm got the great chest hairs rolling, and the great sideburns. I wish I was a little bit more flexible. I wouldn't injure myself as much as I did. So I did it on and off for a while, and then when I was 15, I got really into. There was kind of a more sportier karate school. Like the teacher there, he did it. He was a boxer originally. He was a boxer in the Air Force, and then he got into Tang Soo Do. So it was kind of a cool school because we did a lot of sparring, and that was like the main thing. There was no grappling or anything, and we did that for a while, and that was a good amount of fun. And one of the cool things we do these things called dog days where we go to other schools and that we just spar. I mean, like we had the little the music we'd be playing, and they had buzzers set up on the music to give you 1 minute, 2 minute rounds, and then it would beep again and you stop and it give you like a 30-second, 45-second break, and then you go at it again. And I mean, dude, you want to talk about just fucking the best workout in my life. I mean, it was great. I really enjoyed it. But every once in a while, this was in the 90s, so this is right when like the grappling stuff was kind of coming on the scene, and I kind of floated around. I went to some Aikido schools, and like some of them were fucking junk, and then I went to some like I messed around with some judo guys, and they were fucking rock stars. Those guys were fucking beasts. But then I would like mess around with some guy who was boxing, and and the conditioning from that. I mean, like I never jumped. I mean, I fucking jumped more rope than I did throw punches. So I did that for a little while, and probably till my like early 20s. And I had I'd been kind of a heavy kid in school. And then I kind of got into like my six like between 15 and 16, I like did that for a while, and I started lifting weights in school, and I dropped a bunch of weight. And then like in high school, like last year of high school, I just fucking blew up. I just just going to Denny's every night to eat, and I got really heavy. And I think over between my 18th birthday and my 21st birthday, I lost like 90 pounds. And so I was like 270, and I got to like 180. And I had found a martial arts school. It's a the Vietnamese. It was a Vietnamese sect, so it was technically like a Buddhist sect, but they did everything. And I'm not talking about no like bullshit wushu. Like they did kickboxing, a lot of kickboxing, real legitimate. They did grappling. They did do like more traditional stuff, but like it was a fighting school. Like you learn how to fight. And I stayed there up until I started having kids, and I just couldn't train anymore. And we do everything, and to this day I still call my master Master Ken, and he's like an evil Mr. Miyagi. That's how I always explain people. Like he's like Mr. Miyagi went to the dark side. Speaking of that, I just started watching Cobra Kai. I'm on 3 episodes. I'm fucking loving it. I had that's I'm not that far into it yet, but
Same.
we so he's the kind of guy. So I went to the school for the first time, and like all I did is like just conditioning. I mean, just like horse stance jumps across the room for 45 minutes. Didn't throw up, and I had already been training for like 6-7 years at this point, and I thought I could hold my own. A couple scraps here and there, and Dante punched me in the face once. True story. And
I
think
was
it
a different person then.
I think it was some over Star Wars. God,
There was probably a drunken Dante, just
we were all drunk. We were all drunk, but it was funny. Anyway, so so I thought I was kind of hot shit, and I came from a sparring school, and I was a young punk, and I wasn't scared to fucking mouth off to people, and luckily I didn't get my ass fucking killed in hindsight. So I went there, and like for the first 3 months. He was like, "Your shit is." He said, "You're fucking weak. He said, you're fucking garbage." And for the first 3 months, that's all I did was conditioning, and I fucking loved it, man. I love that like group workout, like any like boot camp type workouts and stuff. For whatever reason, I just feed off that. Like I love doing HIIT workouts and stuff like that. You put me in the gym with like a fucking weight bar, and it's boring as hell to me. I like doing that kind of stuff. And so we stayed with that school for many years. And I mean, I trained. I would go to school in the mornings. I'd get off at 11. I go there. He did let me teach like a kickboxing class to like a school, like a private school, and I did that for a while. And then when they leave, I did 2 classes, and then when they left, I trained with him until I had to go to work like at 5. So I was literally working out 5 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. Sunday was the only day because they had like temple or whatever there, and so I got in like phenomenal. I was like in phenomenal shape. I couldn't eat enough food to keep weight on, and I loved it, man. It was every waking hour. That's all I did is fucking. Even when I went to work, I was working security. I do my homework. I get that done. I lock the building up, and I go up in the gym and I work out more. I was a fucking machine, but what kind of happened there, and this is kind of what I found out, and I wish I didn't do all that crazy shit early on. It's like I just kept on injuring myself. Like, I fucking fucked up my knee. I fucked up my ankles, and my knuckles are all fucked up. My nose is all kind of fucking crooked from punched in the face too many times. And then when I got to, and then I don't know. Did we talk about the law enforcement job yet? I don't know.
No, not yet.
Okay. So I've been a cop for almost 18 years now, and so when I went to the academy, I loved the defensive tactics. That was my jam. And if you ever meet like there's a certain, and Dante, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like there's a certain way a guy that moves who can fight it's like you can sense the like the panther, like he's like a panther, like
Yeah.
a cat, like a bird of prey, or like a cat, like a feral cat. And
Yep.
we had this instructor. He's a little motherfucker, man. And I guess the only other thing is like my stepdad, he was a big wrestler, and like all my guys that I lived around where I went to high school, they were all wrestlers. So we used to that was like my introduction to grappling. It was all my wrestling buddies, but like I didn't like where I was located was not the same school that they went to, because I was in a newer development. I was like right on the line, so we all like hung out around the same area. But I went to a school the opposite direction of them, so I never wrestled with them. But we just get drunk on the weekends and beat each other up. So I got into the defensive tactics, and that's when all like grappling in Brazilian jiu-jitsu was just like the bee's knees. And it just started dominating everything, and that's what we kind of moved more towards is in defensive tactics. But it's different though, because there's not the sport aspect of it. It's you're not, you have other tools. You got to worry about protecting your weapon. You don't want to get on the ground, you know what I mean, necessarily. But you love being on the ground, like fighting on the street is a lot different, especially when like you're rolling off a fucking curb, or you're rolling onto a broken bottle, or you're in a fucking bus, which is a situation,
Yeah.
OCing somebody in a bus, everybody's getting deconned. It's not a fun thing. So I did that for a while, and I'm older now. I mean, you got the gray chest hairs now, so now it's just you don't want to fuck around with nobody. I would love to get into jiu-jitsu now, because I know that if you find somebody who's really a good teacher, and you're a level-headed, and you're not a fucking hotshot, you can roll and do that stuff into your golden years, as long as you're not trying to kill one another. You're trying to master that chess match of the minds. But nowadays, I in the competitive thing that I was doing before, I always found like there was a level, and I don't know if you experience it in jiu-jitsu, where if you don't practice, you have to find the sweet spot. Like if you don't practice more than X, you're never going to get any better. But
Correct.
if you practice X plus Y, you're always going to be injured. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, it never got through my head that, hey man, you need to have a rest day, and it wasn't until I got older that I was like, oh, man, maybe I shouldn't have ripped my hamstring, and second degree separation of my collarbone and shit like that, and hyperextending my knee. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea to keep showing up and getting on the mat when you're all fucked up and your bandage is all, your hands all fucked up and whatnot. But that's what you do when you're young, dumb, and the rest of that saying. So, but I think martial arts in general, I think that it totally changed my life. It gave me a certain level of discipline. It transformed my body for sure, which gave me a level of confidence, and it changed the trajectory of my life to where I couldn't imagine my life without it. And to this day, I haven't trained. I mean, my middle daughter is 12 now, and that's pretty much when I stopped training for routinely, at least like 3 to 5 days a week. But even to this day, if somebody asks me about Master Ken, I mean, I owe that guy my livelihood. I mean, that guy changed my life for the better. And he could fucking show up tomorrow and be like, hey, Adam, I'm moving in. I'm like, okay. And my Master Ken impression is perfect. He's like, I got him down. I can call his mom, as long as I don't speak Vietnamese, she'll think it's him. But he could show up. He's the kind of dude, like, no joke. You got to imagine even Mr. Miyagi, right? He'd call you up. He'd be like, Adam, what you doing? Oh, well, hey Ken, yeah, we just got back from Thanksgiving from my mom's house. Yeah, I know. I'm outside your door. I'm coming over. Okay. And I look out there. He's like on the cell phone, like at the front door, like I bullshit you not. Like on Thanksgiving, yeah, I know. I outside. Like, did you think you're gonna catch me in a lie, Ken? Like I was gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm still at my mom's house. And then he stayed for 3 or 4 days, and he kind of this wandering 21st century kung fu hermit. Anyway,
think we need more of those in this world.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, man. Martial arts I've always still love it. I think now I suffer from like you, where you can't watch an action movie and be like, oh man, it's so fucking stupid. Like you're super critical of their shit. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Especially,
absolutely,
especially, especially like
absolutely.
weapons handling is my pet peeve. Like, get your fucking finger off your trigger. Where are these guys trigger? Just like, God damn it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I,
uh,
I I don't even have any weapons training, but when I see that they got guns and their fingers on the trigger, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
yeah.
like, like call in an expert.
Or when somebody's shooting a Glock and they keep on pulling the trigger after it's empty, and it keeps on like
Mm.
you hear the trigger pull. Like that's not how Glocks work. They don't do that. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's a rough nutshell of my, you know, and then my favorite stuff now, if you want to get into the defense thing, is the canine stuff. I did about 10 years ago. I got into protection dog training and stuff like that, and like everything else I get involved with, I got fucking obsessed with it, and it became like 2 4 hours a day, and I've had 3 dogs in that time. My newest dog, he's not as good as my first dog. My first dog is amazing, but I mean, um, I always tell people, if you got the space and you got the discipline and you want to have a dog, you can train a protection dog that can be as friendly and a great pet, and people come to your house and he's just as lovely as can be, but that motherfucker's a man stopper if need be. And I don't care how fucking badass you are, a fucking even a 60-pound Mal, wrapped around your forearm, you're not doing anything. So, um, if it's a 100-pound shepherd or 140-pound Rottie, yeah, your ass is through. Nature has not given us the tools equipped to fight that without a weapon that we constructed with our own hands and and know how to use it effectively. But that shit is fun, man. Oh, it's so cool. So
I remember, I believe I was in Delaware at the time. I think I was sixth grade, and we had a speaker come in. I remember they were talking about they were it was officer who worked with K9 unit, and he was talking about me, being a kid. I thought I was the fastest fucking creature alive. It was like no man can outrun a dog. And I
correct.
remember just sitting there in my head thinking, bullshit, whatever. I can fucking outrun plenty of dogs. Like I outrun them all the time. I just run to the tree and I climb. They've never caught me. Um, but from that day, that shit was always in my head. And then, as I got older, I started to realize, just how nature works. Like, look, these animals, they're built a certain way. We're not built how they are. We're soft. We're soft
Yeah.
as baby shit. So it's just like you said, if a Roddy get a hold of us, Shepherd gets a hold of us, yeah, you're not winning that battle.
I had this little Belgian Malinois, a female. I mean, she might have been 55 pounds. I mean, she was pretty light compared to, I had a 94-pound Shepherd at the same time. But that dog was so fast, so fast. But one day I was curious. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dust off the old physics books and like calculate, if her max speed is X and her weight, like how much impact. And like she was hitting harder than the Shepherd. You know what I mean? Like when he got his arm, his jaws around you, he's definitely gonna break your arm. And not to imagine the puncture wound, but like that dog hit and like those Mals, like those are the dogs that you seen like John Wick. Those are Mals,
Yeah.
Belgian Malinois. And I guess now everybody's a dog expert now, because before it was like, what is that, one of them Belgian Maltoses or whatever they're called? Anyway, but they launch like she was a little dog, but like she would jump up and her back would be straight, like taking a bite sleeve at like a grown man's eye level. So that little bitch is running at you 40 miles per hour or however the fuck fast she was, and just jumping up there and having they don't call them fur missiles for nothing, or Malingators. I mean, she just and she would take an inside bite, which means like she would bite somebody's pec. So you actually turn the
Oh,
bite sleeve in, and she would bite inside the body and not outside the body. And that's kind of a courage test to make sure the dog's got is not a pussy, for lack of a better term. So like the decoy would run at the dog at the same time, and the dog still got to commit to the bite and not be like scared to back down. But she would run at you and just hit you in the chest, and you'd spin around 3 or 4 times before you hit the ground. And I mean, like if you didn't have the pads on, I mean, just that impact, like that punch in your chest would knock the wind out of you. And then by that time, you're trying to pull this thing off your damn, pectoral bite. I mean, it's pretty nasty. I'll tell you, man. Like all these. I mean, like you'll be surprised, like especially for home protection. Like, I like firearms as well, but like any firearms are just like martial arts. If you're not gonna be dedicated to put the hours of like blood, sweat, and tears and training, it's not doing you any good. It's like a green belt, just enough to get your ass kicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys are like want to buy all these damn fucking AR-15s, and I got this AK over here, and I got this saw over here, and blah blah blah, and I just bought this new EOTech, and they got all this fucking furniture on their weapon systems. They're like, all right, that's cool, man. How many rounds you put through that thing? Oh, I haven't shot it yet. I'm like, well, that's not gonna do you any good in a fucking fight. And like, how you're gonna come out and start shooting a 12 gauge shotgun at some shadow in your fucking house? Get the fuck out of here. You gotta train. You gotta train with it.
Yeah.
But like fucking, I'll tell you, man. Somebody sees a fucking dog at your house barking at that intruder. They're gonna have their second thoughts coming in, and that throwing the steak or the bone in the window to pacify the dog, that's not gonna work because they're not gonna eat unless they're trusting the environment. If they're barking and snapping at you, they're not trusting you. So.
Yeah, we share that in common. And it's funny because, even thinking about that, there was an incident, not in my own home, but a friend's home years ago. No one was harmed, but, the wife comes down to let the dog out. They had a smaller dog, and someone had broken in. Like when she came down the stairs, there was someone at the sliding door. They ran out, so that's very, very fortunate thing there. The husband, she calls the husband, he rushes home. He worked nights and he wasn't home just yet. It wasn't quite time for him to get home. Yeah, he rushes home. In a panic. The next day he takes her out to the shooting range. They already had guns, but took her out, teach her how to shoot, which that there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you have a firearm in the home, all responsible adults, everyone should know how to handle it and respect it. But an important factor in there too, like, look, if you got to use it, know how to use it. But the one thing that I was thinking, and I always think this when people speak of having a gun protected home, it's like, look, do you have it on you all the time? Because if not, and somebody breaks in, I'm a firm believer in knowing how to defend yourself with and without a weapon.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm not of the mindset of saying, oh, well, you don't need a gun if you have martial arts. Like, no, because that's not how that's played.
I want all the gadgets on my bad utility belt. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah. Like, I grappling hook too. I want it all. Like I want smoke bombs.
I want to laser my watch and everything. Yeah, man. I mean, like that's the truth, and then like it's. I mean, a lot of it comes down to is the situational awareness, and I think that's the most important thing when you talk about if you're talking about martial arts because you want to get your your workout on, or you want to work on technique, and you want to get because there's the intellectual aspect of martial arts that we don't really talk. Well, maybe you do talk about it a lot, but like and there's some philosophical aspects of it and discipline and stuff like that. But if you're not focusing on that condition aspect of it, I kind of lost my train of thought there, man. Where was I going with that?
That's what we do on this podcast as well.
All right, just I guess it's not just about beating somebody's ass, but I was trying to make it more eloquent, whatever. It'll come back. It's fine. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm a little bit rusty.
Fair enough.
I know what I'm saying. Like if like in the martial art aspect of it, if you're if you're doing it for the self-defense aspect of it, the biggest thing is situational awareness. Like I talk, and whenever I used to teach, any defensive tactics, like me and another cop, we used to do like a women's one for women and whatnot. I feel like they're getting assaulted, decide like to get away or whatever. Is like when you're walking down the street and there's three lights burnt out on the right side of the street, but all the lights on the left side of the street are still there, and light your friend. You know what I mean? So cross the street, be aware of the situational. And that, like when I go to a restaurant, I've had my back to the wall, and I can look at all the the entrances and exits. I don't have my back again, to somebody coming behind me. I mean, there's that kind of stuff. I mean, like reading body language, reading pre-assault indicators. Not putting yourself in that situation. Like that's your greatest tool. Like if you're throwing down for somebody and you don't want to be throwing down for somebody, then you fucked up. Then there's a lesson that you missed, or a lesson that somebody didn't give you, because every fight is chaotic. Every fight fucking hurts. It might not hurt. You might get a couple good shots off of somebody, but when that adrenaline cools down and you've overstrained or twisted something or done something stupid to yourself, it's gonna come back. You're like, God damn it. And then nowadays everybody's got a fucking phone. Everybody's got a goddamn lawyer. Science and shout out to Science and Kirk. and I mean, and like even with the firearms thing, man. Like we both live in Maryland, the People's Republic of Maryland. I'm not trying to make a political thing. I mean, I'm pretty middle down the road with a lot of stuff. But like, dude, somebody walks in your house and you shoot them, you are probably still going to jail. You might not. You might get acquitted. But there's going to be a lot of expenses that are going to come through. And there's a lot of trauma you better be prepared for, because you're probably getting charged with murder, unless you can clearly articulate that person's opportunity, intent, and capability of wanting to murder you or seriously injure you or your family. You're probably going to jail. And I know stories like right down the road from where I live. Some guy was banging on the door like, man, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you and your wife or whatever, and the dude shot through the door and killed him, and the dude went to jail, the owner of the home. And the guy was making verbal threats and trying to get in the house, still went to fucking jail. So which is crazy.
There was a story out where I used to live about 5 years ago, and at my current job I had a tenant, and he was a peculiar. He was an odd looking fucking guy. Can't say that goddamn word. He was an odd looking guy.
Peculiar.
Yeah, maybe it's not real. He was an odd looking guy, and I'm walking hallways, and I'm the kind of cat that he was in the hallway, he was crying. I'm the kind of cat. It's like hey man, what's going on here? All right, you need someone to talk to. What's going on? And he opened up and he was talking about what happened. He just gotten out of jail because he shot and killed someone. Someone was trying to break into his home, and there was some fuckery to the story. So I don't know, but he ended up basically, shooting three shots. But there was more to it. I think it was two people that he ended up killing. But it's just like, I understand, the need and desire to protect your home. I don't do guns in my home. I just personally speaking, I'm a dark person. And I've had my dark moments. I wouldn't harm my family, but I don't.
Well, Dante, you're not that dark.
I'm a shut-in. I haven't gotten as much sun as needed. I'm low on vitamin D. But no, I've had moments where things could go wrong, so I just choose not to have firearms in my home. I'm all in favor of anyone else. Hey, if you want guns, be responsible. Cool, have a blast. No pun, but
yeah.
The ideal though has always been to me, be able to do both. If you can protect yourself with a weapon, also be able to do it physically, just because you never know. You might not have that opportunity to get to the weapon, so you might have to restrain somebody. You might have to, put someone down. But
Yeah.
with this gentleman who I was speaking with in the hallway, just thinking back to what you're saying, especially here in Maryland, you shoot somebody, there's, it's not going to be cut and dry like in a movie or a TV show. You shoot somebody, there are consequences, not just, that they're dead bodies, but now you have to go away until they can sort this chaos out. And then, like I said, there's trauma involved with that as well, because, I feel like any, typical person, you shoot somebody and especially shoot and kill them, there are going to be some issues that you're going to need to work out later on. At least I know I would. If I shot and killed somebody, I'm not just walking away from that.
I mean, dude, we're so removed from violence as a culture now that it's very. I mean, dude, like it's hard. I mean, it's hard for people to go out there and hunt for the first time and like process an animal. You know what I mean? Just like seeing blood, and I don't like go too crazy on work stories, but I just had maybe when was this? It was a couple months ago. I don't want to give too much away because places and time, and protect the guilty and the innocent. But we had some kind of violent assault, and the victim died. There was trauma that one of my officers was trying to stop the bleeding, but it was everywhere. And like when I went on there, I walked on the scene. I'm like, oh yeah, he's about to go. And there wasn't 3 minutes later, the EMS showed up, and they got him on a gurney, and he was gone before he got in the ambulance. Of course, they pronounced at the hospital, and my guy's covered in blood, and we already got the scene. So my next thing is I got to get him deconned because he wasn't able to get like protective equipment on in time. Like he came there right when the guy was like messed up, and anyway, but dude, just that incident, like he didn't see it happen. He just the guy got stabbed, and then like he had like stopped the bleeding for a second, like the guy, but then he broke the seal trying to get like a paper towel. And as soon as he did that, it opened up and the artery just started to fucking gush. And my guy was fucked. He was fucked up, man. I could see him like, hey, listen, man, we're gonna go get you decons. I gotta take you and get you some shots in case he had an HIV exposure or something like that, or any kind of exposure. But like and he's a military veteran. He's pretty new to the job. But I mean, the day before, if you asked him, he probably thought he was a tough guy that'd be prepared to see some shit like that. But then, that messed him up, man. He needed a couple of days after that to have somebody die in his hands like that, especially that violent over something crazy. Like almost like, hey man, you just stepped on my shoe type of like interaction between two strangers. Yeah, it was fucked up. But yeah, we're so removed from violence. And like I said, even from processing your own meat. I remember the first time I went hunting with a buddy, man. It was kind of difficult to field dress this giant ass deer. I was like, oh man, this is gross. And like pulling out his stomach and everything. I'm but then the second or third time, it's not that bad. You get used to it really fast, especially if you're fucking hungry. That's the weird one.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's the weird one. We went on some like bird hunting type of thing, like pheasants type and stuff. And I remember we had been up all night long, like preparing camp, and then we got up early as fuck and we were hunting, and we were like doing some filming and some stuff as well. And like I was so hungry, man. And by the time we just like running around, burning calories, and by the time I'm about to eat that fucking bird raw. And like all of a sudden it's not so nasty anymore, But yeah, dude, I think a lot of people, and they even when we study like psychology of like fighting and stuff like that with with firearms and stuff, a lot of studies have shown even like soldiers who are online who are firing at the enemies, they'll subconsciously shoot lower or higher so they don't hit them. So even when your goal, like, hey, you're a soldier, your goal is to kill that person running towards you, there's something in you that doesn't want to do it, which is it's understandable. I don't think we're that inherently violent. I think it just comes down. I think we're inherently social, but we have violent tendencies. Obviously,
yeah.
I've known you for a few years, so.
Um,
we both calmed down in our old age, right?
yeah,
It's
for
the first
sure,
it's the great chest hairs, man. It's the great chest hairs.
dude. Just wait till the gray pubes hit.
That's when you know it's over,
And,
man. That's when you look at you look down, you see that first gray pube because it's gonna happen in the bathroom. As Bobby says, here should happen in the bathroom. And you look up in the mirror, you look at yourself in the eyes, like you don't have it no more, man. Don't even go out there. Don't even like smile at that girl, or you're done. You're done. They might as well take you out and shoot you. You know.
um, yeah, I agree. There is this disassociation with you know, people, we watch so many violent films, TV shows, and we think, as a society, I say we think, oh, you know, I can handle that, you know, that's not a problem. I've seen this on CSI, or I've seen this on you know, whatever, you know, insert whatever TV show or movie, but you don't know until you're out there. And I say, you know, just hearing the experience that, you know, your partner had to deal with out there, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, damn, dude, I couldn't begin to imagine. I know I'm a super sensitive person. I would be fucked. And
Yeah.
there's a point back in early 2000s, the county that I lived in at the time, the police department was hiring, and I was like, oh, you know what, let me go, you know, give it a shot, you know. So I went online when it was still brand new, this online thing, and I sent them an email. They replied back to me, and it was really, I think at that time they're like, school wise, I still needed X amount of credits in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 10 short or something. But I also got to thinking, you know, about the bigger picture of it. Mm-hmm. And can I do this job? Am I responsible enough to do this job? Am I, you know, and I think, you know, with doing the job, you know, for the most part, you know, you know, I would mold to it, but really, like I said, I'm a sensitive person. You know, I don't know that I'm, you know, made for that. So, you know, to you all that do the hard jobs, you know, thank you, you know, as just, you know, the guys out there stepping up.
Well, I think I've heard people before like be very critical of people saying like in jobs like, oh, they weren't made for it, or this or that. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I had this one incident where we had one of our guys he wasn't doing well, and was getting himself maybe, you know, too reliant on substances. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And you know, we had so there's three players in this game. We had my buddy that wasn't doing very well, and it didn't end well for him, unfortunately. Then we had a guy who was like, you know, your stereotypical, like, dude was built like a linebacker, you know, Marine Corps veteran. I think he did 8 years in the Marine Corps. He was a state trooper. And then he came working with us, you know, tattoos all over his forearms. And you look at this motherfucker like, oh, that motherfucker's ready to rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like, he's ready for anything.
Yeah.
That guy's a goddamn warrior. And then you had like this female. She's from Baltimore. She is probably 10 years senior than anybody else there. She's got a rack of kids. And you know, she keeps herself in good shape, but she's not like running marathons or anything. You know what I mean? She's like,
Sure.
say, hey, every once in a while I turn my Sally Struthers, you know, thank you Thigh Master video on, and I get it right. And we had an incident where one of our guys, he hurt himself. He hurt himself bad. And I remember walking into the room that he was in, and I could smell the iron in the air because of the blood. Jesus. And there was that one Marine dude, help, just like panic and frozen, and like me and the black female, like literally like running and sliding on the floor in this huge puddle of blood, like holding down the wound, and you know, giving instructions. I was like, all right, I gotta get, you know, I gotta, you know, roll services, and you know, like we're piling on the fucking paper towels. That's all we had on us, you know, like this is like in like the department area, you know. And and it was a head wound. He had got fucked up and fell down and like this. He had like this 3-inch gash like right from like his forehead, the middle of his forehead, almost to his temple. And I mean, like the pool of blood was like the size of your dining room table. It was ridiculous. And like the paper towels were like filling up, and you don't break the seal to keep on stacking them up. That's like we grabbed some paper towels by the adjacent bathroom and whatnot. And I had been helping him out. I was a sergeant at the time, and so I'd already taken him to get some help before. So like I'd already kind of memorized his medical, his medical details. Um, anyway, but like it was one of those situations where if you had asked me a day before when I was like a hungry young sergeant who wanted to get in the mix with everything, like if there was anything going down, it's the kind of young officer I was. Like I always like, oh, volunteer for some extra work, sign me up. Oh, go help this out or do this X, Y, and Z. I'll do it. Getting that one traffic stop right before your shift ends because you're going to get some overtime out of it. You know what I mean? Like that, or back up somebody's, because we kind of get in trouble with that. Like if you were backing up your buddies, like he had one,
Yeah.
just getting in the mix of it. And I looked at the Marine guy, I'd have thought, oh, he's got it, but it was like the mother of three, and so like you people never know what they're capable of until they're tested. You know what I mean? And like that's one thing I always say. I like people who fucked up and like paid their dues and like came back. Like I always got more respect for those people. And people are like, oh man, why are you giving that guy another chance? Like because he's proven that he's deserving of one. He's been tested. He walked through the fires. Yeah, he got burned a little bit, but he's still here. You haven't been fucking tested. I don't know what's gonna happen when the shit goes south. You might fucking run home. And some people do that. So, but like I always say that you can never you can it's such people are so complex, man. And I've seen the biggest toughest guy like complain about a female officer, right? And then we'll go to a scene and the female officer, the same one they're complaining about, owns the scene, brings everybody's tensions down, starts dialogue, gets everybody to comply with whatever she's trying to do, and you walk out and be like, that's how you fucking handle it. You see what she did right there? Like everybody in this situation is better off because she had the right sense to, break down what was going on, get communication, get compliance in a nonviolent way, and everybody's going home and everybody's safe. That's what it's all about. It's not about going in there and throwing your weight around and showing how big, strong, tough guy you are. That's what gets us fucked up, and that's what gets us in trouble. And believe it or not, that is the transfer of what's been happening in the evolution of law enforcement over the recent decades. It's just unfortunately, and I'm not here to speak about any political stuff, but unfortunately, Winston Churchill said we got to be right every time. They only got to be right once. The adversary. So it's easy to find one dickhead who's doing the wrong thing, who's going to change the narrative and make it look like it's some super bad shit is happening. So
Yeah.
I don't know how far you want to get in that dialogue.
There is I did have a question, specifically for you, just kind of in the bigger picture, with law enforcement in this country, because there's been lots of talks of, at least in the circles that I float in, about martial arts and in the police.
Everybody
force.
should at least have a purple belt, right? I think it was Andrew Yang on
Yes.
So yeah, on Joe Rogan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or was it
Yep.
Jocko? So I listened to
Jocko had
20%. So the biggest problem is, in my opinion, and this is only from my very narrow view, and I'm not speaking for,
sure.
I'm not trying to speak for everybody. But if I had to take an educated guess in the shot in the dark, and I've done lots of training with my my own department. I've done cross training. I've done I've done some well-rounded stuff. And just to give a little, like, I went to internal affairs school as well. So I part of my job was to stop the bad apples. You know what I mean? And I'm very passionate about that because the response, police officers are the only people in our society that legally can kill people. Not even a doctor can do that. And that is and that is a tremendous power. And what comes with great power?
Great responsibility.
There you go. And like, and it's not to be taken lightly. Like I don't think think it's funny when I hear officers talking about like, just being violent for violence sake. I think that's an old trope that is mostly been pushed by entertainment.
Yes.
Most of the guys, most police departments now, you got to have at least a 4-year degree. I mean, you're thinking you got a lot of guys that go get a college, had to get a college degree, and then most local departments are making $30,000-$40,000 a year. I mean, guys aren't doing it for the money. The fringe benefits aren't. I mean, there's a couple good places that are making decent money. And some really great departments out there, and there's a lot to do. But I mean, you got to be a part-time psychologist, you got to be a part-time lawyer, you got to be a part-time social worker, you got to be a part-time fighter. And so going back to the martial art bit, I think it's crucial that people know how to be able to handle themselves. But I mean, we got this thing called verbal judo as well, which I think is just as important as physical judo. Actually technically we can't call it verbal judo anymore because apparently verbal judo is copyrighted and that guy wasn't getting his cut.
Wow.
Everybody, yeah. But I mean, like, it works, and like I love that. I mean, my old partner, man, he was like, imagine Mikey's shoulders like ×2, like height wise, and he was like he was like this dude from Brooklyn, and that guy loved to fight. But he used to be, hey man, come over here and do that verbal judo shit, man, because I want to go home on time tonight. and it's important. So I mean, I don't know if we are prepared for the price tag of what it would take to get people trained to that level consistently, because there's the injury. I mean, and right now, I'm at commander level now, so I've like kind of moved myself up the ranks, and I get involved with, like, the numbers of how many people we have, and scheduling training and looking at budgets and stuff like that. And I think that the problem comes down is funding for the police. I mean, if you want to have the continuing education, if you want to have 20% of their time be working out or doing something else, I mean, you got to be able to pay for that, and then you got to be able, and do we have the stomach for that? And it's interesting because law enforcement jobs are so varied. I mean, you can be a housing authority cop, in an inner city that doesn't sound like a very glamorous job. It can be dangerous as hell, or you can have an FBI job, where you're doing you're a cop per se, but you're doing mostly office work and accounting on white collar stuff. And there's I mean, and let's not forget the correctional guys. I mean, that's a hard job as well. But then you get into the political aspects about the prison system and the criminal justice system and the issues with that. And it's all I people try to make these kind of binary, false dichotomies, like, oh, it's this or that. It's like, we need to have a living wage or we don't, or whatever. And I like to think of it more as a spider web, right? And the web, the tension of the web, you have all these different points that the web is connected to all around it, right? And anytime you pull on this one, well, it's gonna pull across the web on some other stuff. So you got to be careful. If you pull too hard, it's going to pop the web on other places, and all these things are interconnected. And you're talking about training, you're talking about community policing, you're talking about the trust in the police. I mean, how do you get that back in a community that identifies law enforcement as somebody who leans on them all the time? Because there are departments that happens at. I got a good friend of mine. He was a cop in a Podunk County in the South, and his sheriff, he was a deputy sheriff, and his sheriff said one call, one deputy, and his closest backup sometimes was 45 minutes. So he was a little scrappy dude, man. It was just him and his dog. So he's like, hey man, when I ride on the scene, I had to bust the first big guy in the face to cool it down, to make sure them good old boys knew that I wasn't fucking around, because that was the culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. He goes to some Dixie flag wearing fucking hillbilly party. He had to go to Big Bubba, knock Big Bubba on his ass, and then he had everybody else's ear. and he's got a horrible story. I mean, it's not my story, but fucking, he wouldn't mind me telling him. He had, domestic situation, and there's a guy, the guy would beat up his wife, and he'd go up there and arrest a guy, and sometimes he's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, man, and he's retired now. He's like, sometimes that guy got a little street justice, and he said one day he showed up and there was a state guy there that he didn't know, and he's like, normally I'd have tuned this guy up and locked him up, but I didn't know this guy, and I came back 45 minutes over a cold gray dead body because he had, the guy ended up killing her. And I mean, that's the reality, and human being, it's difficult for human beings to process that, like, to work in this, everybody has this kind of imaginary system that they think they know what they would do and act like, well, if something would happen. And there's this great video, man. There's this guy, he's like a anti-police protester, and you've probably seen it on YouTube. And like, police, the police did all this, they did all that. They sent them into a police training, like a simunition training. And simunition is like rubber, not a rubber bullet, but like a paintball bullet, right? And they put you in a situation where he's coming up on a guy who he's fighting somebody else, and he's hitting the guy with the bat, and he pulls his gun, and then the guy with the bat walks to him and two steps, and he shoots the guy, and the role, shoots the role player. And so the instructor's like, all right, man, explain why you did that. You just killed that guy. Explain why you did that. He's like, oh shit, I don't know. I just was scared, and I shot him. And so they went through 3 or 4 scenarios with role players and simunitions. And at the end of it, you can see he's like, yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. I had no idea, how that felt, or the perception of, you're reacting quickly to dynamic, ever-changing situations, and it's just training and training and training and training and training, that get you there. And I remember my first, we do pretty high speed, not live fire exercises, but using simunitions and like, going into scenarios. And the scenario, you might walk in and it'd be fine and then nothing happens, or you might get in a gunfight. And I just, one of the first ones, this is like, into training, and I just, pulling your weapon and firing off a bunch of rounds and be like, oh shit, I didn't really think about doing that. I just did it. Like if this is a real situation right now, how would I just articulate shooting that suspect? Like, damn, that you didn't even, so much goes through, and you're just reacting like instinct. And, that you try to explain it to somebody who's never been in that situation. And I mean, there's guys out there with, 20, 30 years of experience and never had to draw their weapon. And there's guys out there with 3-4 months of experience that have, had to do a lot more than those guys with 30 experience. So it's such a varied field. It's hard to like group it all into like, how do we solve this socially, but education is not a bad thing, not at all. So, and also, I don't care, I don't know if you ever fought somebody on drugs, or somebody's really drunk, but if they're on PCP, bro, there's all the technique in the world, unless you're proficient at breaking the machine, like where their muscles are attached to their fucking tendons anymore. I've had a guy in a really good arm bar, and that motherfucker stood up. You know what I mean? And I was dangling upside down.
Yeah. And, that's where, those levels get weird, because again, you can know, martial arts as an officer, you're doing the right thing. And then you get someone that, like they're on PCP.
Yeah.
And they just power through that shit. And it's like, oh no, like what the fuck is going on now? Like, what do I do from here? So it like you said, it's not so black and white though. Yeah. There's always gray for these types of situations.
And I've seen the Incredible Hulk shrink, bro. I had a video for a long time. I wish I still had it, but it's like this little drunk kid. I mean, he weighed 90 pounds soaking wet, and they arrested him, and the one officer turned around, tried to put cuffs on him because he spit in the officer's face or whatever. And he had him pushed against the car, trying to get, he's being combative. And it took 5 guys to get this little fucking Napoleon Dynamite looking motherfucker in the car. And I'm talking about, they got to the point where one had one leg, one had the other leg, one had one shoulder, one had the other shoulder, and then one had to hold his head because he was trying to bite motherfuckers. Like he
Jesus.
was flexible and scrappy. It took 5 grown men to get this motherfucker in the back of a police vehicle. It was funny shit. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we were laughing our asses off after the fact. And like these were small boys. Like two or three of the guys. Like one guy was like an ex-football guy in college, and then like 2 of the guys were like bodybuilder dudes. Like I'm not like I mean they were pretty too, but I mean they were big dudes. They were strong. And like this guy. I mean, I imagine Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite probably had more muscle tone than this guy, but this guy was on. He was on something. I mean, he had more than booze in the system, but like, and you're like, God damn, man, how the fuck, and the drugs just get, they get scary, man, because you never know what they're on or what they're doing or, what they have in their mouth or what they have on them.
Yep.
I found, shit in my vehicles before, searching after an arrest or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah. But I think that and like, let's like get into it. Let's say tomorrow, like, all right, everybody, the president passes a law that every cop needs to have a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, right? Well, who do you source in jiu-jitsu from, right? I mean, we both agree that there's good jiu-jitsu and there's bad jiu-jitsu, right?
Absolutely.
And then what if we, how do we have that many instructors to train, 7 million cops or whatever the number is? I think it's 6 or 7 million. And then out of the 7 million, how many of those guys are actually physically capable of learning jiu-jitsu? And then how long is it going to take us for them to even be proficient? Like it's such a difficult thing. I mean, shit, I can barely get my ass down to the gym, and I work out every fucking day, but like sometimes I'm like, God damn it, man, get your fucking lazy ass down. Like right now, I'm looking at the clock, like, oh man, my wife's gonna be home before I get my workout on. She's gonna be mad because I'm gonna go work out either right before dinner and leave her to cook dinner all by herself, or right after dinner so I get my workout in before I have to go to bed.
And that's that was one of my things, thinking about the martial art aspect of it, and having to learn it, because you can say, hey, everybody has to have a purple belt. Purple belt's not something you just get. It's not like Taekwondo. When you're 7 years old, you don't get it in a year. You don't get your black belt in a year. To get a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Well, to be fair, it took 3 years. All right. Don't be that guy, man.
And to be honest, I am actually very, as much as I might joke Taekwondo, I wish I had taken it as a kid, just because I feel all the martial arts kind of bash each other, but I think all martial arts has some aspect of building character, building discipline. No matter where you go, which art you take, you're going to build discipline, and if you're doing it right, that's going to really build a strong character, I believe. But in terms of trying to get every officer a purple belt or even a blue belt, really.
Well, before we go to the officer, there's one thing I want to say. What you said. Not only that, but there's something about the warrior play that bonds people. And I don't know if that's the right thing, but like I've never been closer to individuals with those moments after you're done, beating the shit out of each other, but in a constructive manner. Like there's a bonding thing there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that evil, primate that's in some place. But there's just something about it that like if I look back at some of the best, like, hanging out or chilling or whatever, it's like, training that hard, sweating, crying or whatever after you're done, like some kind of, going for some kind of big, road march or whatever, obstacle course or and then you're like, fuck yeah. It's the same thing when you're like winning whatever sports game you play. I'm not a big sports guy, so the sports ball game. I'm sure
the thing with the ball and the sticks and the pucks.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like there's some guys that back in the day that like I had a chip on my shoulder with them or whatever, and we literally solved it in the ring. And then after we were done, like, all right, man, I got respect for you now, and like all that stuff. I mean, what? And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's anybody that I ever trained with that I still to this day hold a grudge against, or like I didn't work that shit out before I stopped seeing it. Like man, I don't think I like that guy. I don't think I like the guy. But by the time we were done training for whatever period of time that was, it was like, all right, man, yeah, I'm cool with you. You know, if you need anything, let me know, type of thing. There's that bonding thing that I don't think a lot of people experience nowadays. You know, it's
No,
really it's
no.
really powerful.
There's I have a teammate that over the summer he and I had some static. I've kind of brought this up a couple times here on the podcast. We've butted heads on after the whole George Floyd matter, and I put up a post. I was actually talking about trans people. I wasn't even talking about Black Lives Matter. Actually, I was talking about trans people in my post. But he and I kind of got into a back and forth about everything. And, I told him, hey, look, if you don't like what I post, you don't have to follow me, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you're right, I don't. So we cut it from there. I did say to him, though, thank you for coming to me and, expressing how you feel. And, instead of, holding a grudge, and then I think 2 weeks later, once we were able to get back to training, he and I actually paired up and trained together. We don't hold any ill will towards each other. At least I don't hold any towards him. Because like you said, there's something that happens out there on those mats, in the ring, in the cage, wherever it may be. Most people that I meet, like for the first time, I have a friend, whenever she starts dating anyone, my first thing is like, hey, like, can he wrestle? Does he grapple? Like that, because I want to roll with him. Like, because I always feel like that you can learn a lot about a person. In that manner. Well, one of my oldest friends, like kid that I met, almost first day when I moved to Maryland. I keep trying to get him to come out and get on the mats just to try it out. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, for me, that helps me with trust towards you, because if you have me in a position where you can seriously hurt me and you don't, if it's like, okay, I trust this dude, or just how they respond under pressure, that tells me a whole lot. But I think what else goes into the ideal of trying to train 7 million officers, even up to the rank of blue belt, because that's not something you do overnight either. But with martial arts, specifically jiu-jitsu, a lot of people quit at blue belt. And if you're saying every officer has to get to a purple belt, it's like, okay, well, I'm sure there'd be something that there's some way to get you there, then work with you.
Well,
but
I got one better. I think that everybody, like, I think that if you want to collect Social Security check when you get older, I think if you want to, have your company pay your insurance or whatever else, I think that physical fitness should be a mandatory thing for everybody. And I know that sounds like Adam, what the fuck are you talking about, man? But like, you got to play to the biology. And the fact of the matter is that we are not engaging in the physical activity that we evolved to output. You know what I mean? Like, dude, let me tell you something, bro. About, I like I told you a little bit before about, like, my my weight issues when I was a young man, and then, like, losing a bunch of weight getting to police academy. So I had a, before, let's see, when was this? Like 2010-ish, let's just say. I'll just make up a number. I mean, before then I was a runner. So I was like down to like I'm 6'3". I got down to like 184 when I was like doing martial arts. So I was like a fucking string bean, right? And then I got up to about 214 when I was in the academy. And then then I was lifting a lot there, and like, eating like a fucking horse. You can eat all you want for free type of stuff. And then I would fluctuate between about 210 and 215, Well, I hurt myself and had to have a surgery, and they were giving me cortisone shots, and I ballooned up to like 235, 240 again. And I stayed in between that, like, so like the last time you probably saw me, I was probably 220, 225. And I stayed in that type for, 5 to 6 years, right? And I couldn't cut anything. And it was actually Laura and my wife who got into yoga that were like, we want to do this yoga challenge, just like yoga every day for this was 2019. And so this 2018 they're talking about it. I'm like, I could do that. And so the first 30 days, I did it for at least 30 minutes. Yep. And the first 100 days, I did it for 30 minutes a day. The second 100 days, I did it for 60 minutes a day. The third 100 days, I did it for 90 minutes a day. Is that right? No, 20. Wait a minute, I'm fucking this up. Maybe it was. Yeah, I did it for 90 minutes a day. And then the last 65 days of the year, I still did it for 90 minutes, but I added meditation in. So I'd meditate here 5 or 10 minutes. And dude, it completely fucking changed my life, man. I felt like I was less combative with people, less argumentative. Like I started like reconnecting with people I hadn't talked to for a while. I set boundaries with people I kind of felt like I needed to set boundaries with, and you know, some other stuff happened, but like I hadn't talked to my mom for like 4 or 5 years. Started talking to her again, and I give it like yoga fucking changed my life. And then the next year, I kept the yoga up all through 2020, and I started doing like HIIT workouts and stuff like that. I started running again, and I was doing anywhere between and through the years I'll get like running for. I'll get to be like where I'm running like 6, 7, 10 miles a day, and then what I'll do, I'll fucking hurt myself. Because remember that X, that if you don't do X, you're not getting any better. But if you do X, Y, you're hurting yourself. Because I can never balance that shit. Like X plus X plus Y in parentheses minus 1. And started doing the HIIT, like a fiend, knock out a couple 6-week programs. Like I would do a 6-week session, take a break, doing those 6-week session, and then recently I got on like the stationary bike, and I'm doing that every day to add on to it. But I'm doing a balanced approach where I'm not overworking it. Anyway, more of the story is now I'm back down. Like I'm back under 200. Haven't been under 200 since I was fucking 18 years old, or 21 years old, I should say. And my mood's a lot better. I'm sleeping well. I think my hair's growing back a little bit. Not that much. Forehead's still high as fuck. I am getting those grays on the chest, but like I'm feeling a lot better. And like and the same thing with my wife. We started working out together really really hard in 2019. She like yoga has totally changed her. She's just getting less aggravated with the kids. Doing better at work. I'm doing better at work. It's just like, man, if I don't at least get my X amount of workout time a day and my X amount of calories burned, because I track all that shit now. It's kind of become like it's just a habit. I can tell if like, oh dude, I'm not pushing myself today. I'm not, and I mean like, dude, knock on wood. I don't get sick as much. I haven't been properly sick in over a year, and that's when I think. That's when I know everybody says they think they got COVID, but my wife did have COVID and I didn't get it, so there must have been some antibodies or something. Like I was sleeping in the same bed with her, making out with her and shit while she was sick, and we didn't find. Like, she didn't get tested until like a week after she was sick, and I was like, you should probably get tested now, and I didn't get it, so I don't know. Anyway, I say that to say this, like I think that like a culture like mandatory overtime, or like a culture where every 9 to 5 job there's a gym that people can go to, and like in your 8-hour workday it's time for you to go get on the elliptical machine, to go get on the bike, or fitness coaches that are there to help you out, and do something to make it to save to help the company save money. Because if your employees are in shape, their insurance premiums are going to go down. Their use of sick leave is going to go down. It's going to make you more profitable. I mean, bro, I can get into stupid shit about like the actual cost of a bottle of Coke to the American public is $100. If you go into all the subsidies for the corn and all the fucking money that goes to Medicare for diabetes, because soda is the number one lead in diabetes, and what we fucking pay to healthcare is 40% of our fucking budget, to Medicare and Medicaid or whatever the hell that is. Where if a motherfucker learned not to eat 20,000 calories of goddamn cheese a day, and to go out for a walk and exercise, everybody would be better. And then maybe we wouldn't have people going crazy and fight with the police. You know, at least in my in my
Well,
world.
it's not far off from accurate though, because I think you know a lot of what goes on. I know for me with jiu-jitsu, when I started off, it built a lot of different disciplines within me as far as how I ate. I stopped drinking when I started
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu.
yeah,
A big part of that was once I was able to go to the gym more often, there wasn't really a window for me to drink because I didn't want to drink the night before
yep,
because I didn't want to come in hungover. I didn't want to come in smell like booze. I didn't want to be a bad teammate.
correct.
And I was there at the gym, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday night if possible, sometimes Saturday morning. We didn't have anything on a Sunday for a while, and there was never any opportunity for me to drink. And then even with that, going in trying to eat a certain way, with me having the colostomy, I have to fast before
Yeah,
training.
yeah,
So that for me personally, it changed a lot, and my temperament changed. you
yeah,
know I'm a patient person, but after starting to train, I became a lot more patient, a lot more understanding, a
mhm,
lot less aggressive. If there's an altercation, I wasn't quick to jump in and try to swing. If
mhm,
there's an altercation, I jump in and try to talk it down.
mhm,
I think that's not just jujitsu, but I think that's just, like you said, health, physical health,
yeah, yeah,
taking care of yourself. When I worked at Pandora Jewelry, um, we were given a gym membership because the gym was right across the street from us.
yeah,
At first, everyone got a gym membership. There's no consequence to it. Not everyone used it though. Then they made a change to the setup, and they said, look, you have to swipe your gym card at least 3 times a month, which I feel like it should be more, but whatever. If you want to keep that membership for free, you have
mhm,
to show that you're going to that gym, which is
mhm,
again across the streets.
yeah,
um you know so I don't know what all companies are doing. Obviously, I know my company doesn't do anything like that. My company couldn't care less. But I think it is important for people, for companies to look at things like that, because like you said, it's going to bring down the cost on
well,
that, the health insurance for sure. And you're going to have people using less sick time.
exactly. I mean, let me tell you, man. Like, you know, one big proponent I am for my team. And right now, well, I'm getting ready to switch commands, but right now I had 70 people underneath me. Um, one big proponent was morale. Like if people were banging out too many times, I want to know why. It wasn't to be a dickhead, but it's like I always found out, like, if people are calling out sick or whatever, it and abusing it, it always points to other issues in their life, other points to other chaos in their life. And if you can get them assistance through whatever, employee assistance program or some counseling or whatever else, or just sometimes, like, hey man, what's going on with you? Let's talk. Let's be human. And my predecessor, one of his big things was um, was fitness. Like he made sure he found time for people to rotate, to go around, to get out a little bit early and go to the gym, because we couldn't get people. It was hard for us to get people on the clock. But what we did is we figured out how to cover each other's sectors and everything. So we say, hey man, today you get to cut out early, and you can go to the gym. And we supplied them with a gym membership and everything too. So that was a big thing. Well, then when COVID hit, our gym got shut down. So one thing we started doing is I started leading online workouts. Like, hey man, I'm gonna knock out this 45-minute yoga class, or I'm gonna knock out this 35-minute hit, high intensity interval training class. Or if you guys want to do something else, and like we got on there, we were sharing, or I'm gonna go for a run. You can like do like Nike Run Club, or there's other ones you like track, and like I never
Yeah.
use this one, but my buddies were telling me about, like, you can, like, it'll tell you when your buddy's behind you, 50 feet behind you, oh he's in front of you, or some shit like that
Oh
in real
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
I was like that's kind of dope, but like I got too many apps on my phone. I can't commit to any more apps. You know what I mean? Like I got a whole fitness section of my apps. I'm good. Um, but I'd have competition. I mean, dude, I was having competition with people, buddies of mine. I have a friend of mine that I grew up with in Columbia too. She was my next door neighbor. She lives in LA, and we were doing competitions, her and I. Like we'd be get on. I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to start running. And you and like we get on the phone and like run together, even though she was in LA, because the only thing that she could do because her gym was closed down, right? And we started tracking that, and we had a little chat there, might a little bit of little shit talking and everything, people comparing numbers and everything. But I mean, but like even that again, it's that working out together that just brought us together, and like, even through all, because we didn't stop working, even through all this COVID stuff, that kept morale up. People, people were doing pretty good. And again, we saw this substantial, and this is something I did years ago as a sergeant. We have a physical fitness, regiment that you have to be able to do. Like, we have a fitness test, like, health test, for medically clear for work. And then there's actually a physical endurance battery that you have to do every year. And we had people who were failing, and after so many times, you lose your job, And so, I did this running competition, and I had one or two guys that needed some help in the gym. So I paired them up with some of my officers that were a little bit more squared away. And dude, before we knew it, everybody was passing their tests. Everybody was passing their PT test. We didn't have any issues with it. And the one guy who was kind of a turd, and but he ended up coming around a little bit, like during that time frame. Like it got him a little confidence. He was showing up to work a little bit more. He was doing a little bit better job. You know what I mean? But the only problem is that if you don't keep that energy, if you don't keep working on that, like anything else, like any other training, it goes away. And unfortunately, I ended up being shifted to some other platoon, and before I knew it, he was back to being a dirtbag, because that opportunity didn't continue with my predecessor. Or whoever I preceded. Is that the right word? Preceded me. It doesn't matter.
Preceded you.
Technical terms, not real words anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm even my kids, when they're stuck at home during the COVID, I got on YouTube like PE with Joe. That was a really cool little fitness thing for the kids. Like any parents out there, this British guy, he puts on like Superman costume. It's like a Superman themed workout or a Spider-Man costume. And the kids fucking love it, man. 30 minutes, get some working out, or I tell them to go outside and run around with the dog, and start those habits off early. Because unfortunately, those school activities aren't really happening right now. That's a big concern. So, but yeah, I think Andrew Yang should make everybody have to do like 30 minutes of physical fitness a day. Man, what do you think? How do you think that would not go over well, man? Like a fucking fart in church, bro.
No. Well,
people be riding in the street.
I can see it going very poorly, depending on how it's approached, though. I mean, sometimes you just got to trick people into it. Sometimes you got to call something else. There are tons of ways to get, to an objective. You just have to find a different path. Because if you tell someone directly,
I'm gonna ride this bike, Adam. I only got one leg from the diabetes.
Exactly. It's like sometimes it's like, well, like I hear your problem, but let's make sure you keep the other leg. Let's try something else out. I post up tons of stuff on my Instagram. Well, not tons, but every so often, I'll throw some stuff up there with an amputee, working out, and it's like, what's your excuse? And that even goes for me.
Bro, my wife was doing gentle yoga for like older people, like chair yoga and stuff. And I mean, they were still getting something out of it, man. And sometimes it's just putting the effort in to do that, like just saying, hey man, I'm dedicating this period of time to better myself in one way or another. Like that's like sometimes even the psychological game there is really fucking important. To walk away from that accomplishment of like, and dude, like I love a HIIT workout, but I fucking hate the first minute of one. I'm like, God damn, I don't fucking feel like doing this shit right now. I don't want to fucking do any more burpees. But I come around to that last round, and like, all right, man, I I got three more sets of this exercise to do, and or 3 different sets of 3 different exercises to do, and I'm done. And like nothing feels better than that, especially if you do like. I'm a fan of like doing like 6 week things where like you do 6 days in a row with one break day for 6 weeks, and
Yeah.
by week number 6, when you have that 6th day or whatever, dude, that is like you want to fucking scream like you just won the goddamn Super Bowl, like you're Tom Brady with your 18th Super Bowl ring. That fucking feels great, and you just got to ride that energy to your next session. How many rings has he got now? He's like over 7, right? Is it 7?
I believe he's at 7. He just got
Yeah,
7 this past Super Bowl.
yeah,
Which,
dude, that's kind of funny. Like I'm gonna leave you motherfuckers that I've been carrying on my back. I'm gonna go win. I'm gonna go win the Super Bowl my first year on a new team. So,
but there's the argument though, like, who needed who? Did he need the coach, or
yeah,
did the coach need him? And
yeah.
I mean, without him in
We'll
New
leave that.
England,
We'll leave that for the football podcast. They probably know better than us anyway. I
no,
gave
no,
up.
no.
I gave up on football and let Michael Vick back in after he's beating all those dogs. I'm not saying the
Like,
man needs to stay in jail anymore, but you don't get to be a football star anymore after fucking picking up dogs by the back of their legs and allegedly slamming them against concrete walls, or like
yeah,
shocking them with fucking marine batteries, like car batteries.
yeah, that's
Sorry.
no, that
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's I don't know. I think there are just certain elements to things where it's like we're a complex system, the United States of America. Just in what we let happen, what we let
Dante. It's pronounced. It's
pass.
pronounced America.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, especially in the area that I'm in. Yeah, here in America, like, oh my god, like there are days at work where I'm just like, I look out the window at work, I'm like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone right now? And I just turn around,
Bro, I hear you.
you just ignore it. But no, I think
Bro,
just
I heard they're canceling the Muppets now.
wait, what? What for? What?
They're gonna cancel because they're politically incorrect by some. I don't know why. Maybe because
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know. Like I get it when Bugs Bunny used to dress and drag all the time. That might not be appropriate, But I mean, like, it was funny. Leave Bugs Bunny alone, man.
Well, as long as they don't make any
But
new Bugs
apparently
Bunny
the Muppets are
dressing and
about to get
drag.
canceled.
Well,
I think
I
all those old Warner Brothers cartoons are done, man. You don't even
so
see. I don't. You don't see them on Netflix or anything.
no. So Warner Brothers stuff, I
Today's
think it's
children won't
all.
know the joy of Daffy Duck's. No, today's generation won't know the joy of Daffy Duck's bill being shot and spinning around his head. Elmer Fudd shooting his mouth.
And that's the thing that, like, we as kids knew
So violent,
it.
this show.
It was silly. We knew it wasn't real. We knew it was a joke. It's a cartoon. Or like, I don't know, like all those things I don't know if those specific episodes, but I know a lot of Warner Brothers stuff, the Looney Tunes stuff is on HBO Max. They have like a
Is it?
little you scroll all the way down.
Oh, bro,
And
I'm checking the TV right now.
it's there because when I saw it, I got excited. I was like, yes.
I'm gonna call the kids up. You will watch every one of these several times.
No, on Disney Plus, I noticed the other day I'm watching DuckTales and there's like a little warning before an episode. Basically talking about the episode had some sensitive stuff going on in it. And it was the episode where I guess Scrooge McDuck and the kids all went out to the jungle and they found this duck who is a prince, but he's been in the jungle for all these years. And the natives is what they were putting a warning in about, because they said, it might be sensitive to the natives and blah, blah, blah. And I told Sarah, was like, well, the natives aren't going to see it. They ain't got TV. So why are we putting this warning up? Just fucking let it roll. But then on Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, there are a lot of episodes this morning I saw that had the warning. I was like, yo, what the fuck? I'm glad they're keeping it though, because if you erase this stuff and cancel it, then you don't know where we came from and how we got better. So it's good to see where we were fucking
Dude,
up.
I agree.
Things.
I agree with you 100%. So I've been on this like classic literature kick for like that's like my 2021, and I've read like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Dracula. That's how they started. They started with Dracula. Man, I'm a grown ass man. I've never read Dracula. I'm gonna read this
Really?
motherfucker. And then I got Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I knocked out Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and I finished all of the Sherlock Holmes. And bro, there are some pretty there are some things today that are obviously racist. Like they're obviously, racist in the aspect that they think there's there's a racial inferiority in a group of people. Like it's obvious.
Yeah.
But even with that, as plain as can be, you can still read that, all right, yeah, these motherfuckers are backwards, but they're not being hateful for hateful sake. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, all right, they're a product of their environment. You know what I mean? They, as the same as they are with superstition or religion or anything like that. And I'm not trying to make a religious comment or whatnot, but going through some of those Victorian era things, like, oh wow, this stuff is like, okay, yeah, I can see how people, but it doesn't take away from like how necessary that work is for historical purposes, Yeah. And I just finished A Brave New World. I did Animal Farm first and A Brave New World, which is kind of like in the same vein as like 1984. It's like that dystopian future that is all passion is removed. Like it's too much to go into, but it's like, goddamn, man, we're like really close to getting that point. But my point is that we cannot erase the past because it hurts our feelings. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking dumb. Well, how does that do justice to any of the people who sacrificed whatever they sacrificed? And I was talking to a buddy of mine. He loves this Asian cat. He loves Genghis Khan. It wasn't Joe. I have more Asian friends than Joe. But he made a comment. He's like, bro, like people of European descent, like Genghis Khan is still kind of like Hitler to some people. Like if you talk about him in Asian countries, like he's still kind of like Hitler. He's like, but like people are fascinated by the impacts that he had on the planet. Like that motherfucker changed the climate of the planet. He killed so many people. You know what I mean? Like bodies were so high and the gas produced in those bodies were so much it changed the climate. And he like, he's like, what do they say? He's descended like 1/9 or 1/10 of the Asian population or some shit.
Yeah.
Like he changed the genome. But it doesn't, just because Genghis Khan was a fucking monster in his time, like killing people and raping people and burning, he's still an important aspect of human history that we can't forget. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, but Genghis Khan's he's gonna get canceled, bro. You cancel the Muppets, and it's all over. They'll be canceling. They'll be canceling dinosaurs soon. And everybody loves dinosaurs.
I was scrolling through Facebook because I like to go on Facebook and just drop a meme and go. But every so often, I like to just scroll through groups and see, what the climate is on things, whether it be action figures or comic books or jiu-jitsu. But I'm in a movie group. I didn't know this until I saw I was in a movie group. And as I'm scrolling, I saw someone. There was a picture from Greece, and they said it looks like Greece is getting canceled next. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh, you're talking? You're not talking about the country. I was like,
no.
They're gonna cancel gyros. I mean, dude, listen, man. Like, I'm not trying to say. I'm not trying to make you stereotypes, but my dad's gay, so I know every word of Grease, all the songs. I can sing them. Like any family event, we're all singing Grease. All right,
I know
someone loving it. Everybody. I'm the oldest of 4, but we're all singing Grease.
I was in drama in high school, and we did Grease, and before I realized I didn't want to be in drama anymore, I learned, the entire fucking movie just about. But when they're saying that, they're like, they're looking at canceling it, and someone quoted, one of the lines, tell me more, did she put up a fight? And look, I get it. You know, I don't know. I just feel like, look, if you don't like something, don't watch it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. It's just whenever things come up and they want to cancel something, especially from the past, like you say, you know, reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, reading Dracula, reading Sherlock Holmes, and you know, it's not that things are being said in a racist manner because they're, you know, being hateful. That was the time.
There's one story specifically in Sherlock Holmes where an English woman is you know, one of his cases, and what you find out is like an English woman moved to America. She actually married a black man and had a child with him. She moved back to he passed away. She moved back to England and then found another man, married him, and like secluded her child away. And so like I guess the husband or somebody like hired Sherlock Holmes to find out, you know, what was going on with this other house on the property, and that his wife was sneaking over there and whatever. And and they so it was interesting because what ended up happening is I think the man. I mean, I might fuck up the story now. I want to say the man was fine. He was like it was fine with it, but they still kind of objectified the girl. And the girl was still kind of a. It's almost even though it was kind of a progressive story for like, you know, whenever it was fucking. I mean, shit, it was between 1890 and 1920, right? So
Yeah.
I would assume that'd be pretty racy for England in that time period. So you know, you know, obviously the mother was still, you know, valued her daughter and whatever else, and she was still in this world where she couldn't have this mixed race child, and they did. I think they didn't call her the N word, but they used some other fancy, you know, some other fancy British word that would be interpreted as a slur, I believe, if my memory serving me right. But there was still reference to the child as if she's an object, like or like a cat. You know, there was
Yeah.
definitely you could definitely read it like, okay, you know, she's not human, but she's got human tendencies. That's like that's like the kind of how it reads, you know. And it like, and I'm reading like, oh, this kind of fucked up, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, I guess for 100 years ago, or more than 100 years, maybe 130 years ago, because I don't remember exactly. I mean, there were so many stories he wrote over 30 years. Um, I guess that was pretty progressive at the time, and
Sure.
like stories like that. I mean, what do stories like that lay the progressive foundation for us to move forward? You know, like I'm a big Star Trek. I love Star Trek. You know, I
Yeah.
don't love Star Trek for the same reason I love Star Wars. But I think that Star Trek has had these cultural events, like the first interracial kiss. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep. That's what I was
was
just
on
thinking.
Star Trek. You know, they had that one episode where you had the people with the white face on the right side and the black face on the left side, and then the people with the black face on the left side and the white face on the right side, or whatever the fuck. I fucked it up. They just had they both had black and white faces, like split right down the middle, but it was vice versa. And Kirk, you know, that's why they hated each other. And Kirk was sent in to try to, like, you know, be an ambassador to these two people on this planet who couldn't get along for these racial reasons. And he pointed out how fucking stupid it was. But he did that in the fucking 60s, right in front of everybody. And it changed, it helped change the culture. And comic books did the same thing. Like any kind of artwork like that helps change the culture. And certainly like Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
which I'm sure changed the culture and shifted away from superstition and super mysticism, and really focused on reason and rationality and deductive reasoning and investigation, and some of the really profound things that were going on in the culture at that time, even some social stuff. And like if we take that shit away, because now it makes us feel icky, you know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. Motherfuckers don't want to feel icky. And I know that's an oversimplification. People are like, God damn it, man, that's fucked up. There's like real people getting hurt and whatnot. Like, bro, I get it. But I mean, like, we can't erase the past to try to create. And dude, bro, you got to read this A Brave New World. I'll give you the lowdown on it. Basically, humanity gets to the point where we don't have kids anymore naturally. we've engineered. Everybody's born in a test tube, and you have your alphas that do high level work. You have your betas that do middle level work, all the way down to like your epsilons, who basically look like little dwarf monkeys, right? Because they purposely stunt their growth in utero. I'm serious. They look like little almost like little chimps, right? Because they stunt their and all that. Like one job would be the elevator. Elevator goes up, and then they condition them to a sound with elevators up to go down, and that's all they do. Or you might have somebody that just sits on an assembly line and pushes a button. But anyway, the whole culture, everybody's on this drug that's basically like the perfect drug that doesn't leave you. It makes you happy. It doesn't lead to any side effects. It's not addictive per se. Like you don't have withdrawals from it, and it doesn't kill you. So it's like the perfect drug that like they just drug the masses, and they have a bunch of sporting events, and there's no culture. There's no high art. They actually frown upon it. There's no Shakespeare. There's no nothing. There's no history. Like all they do is consume and produce, and the whole society's based on, and everybody can fornicate. There's no husbands. There's no wives. So everybody just has orgies. So that they basically promote having an infant mentality, and that's how they keep the people That's how they keep the society stable, and everybody is even keel, and everybody's always happy, and everybody stays young until they become senile because their medical technology is advanced. So like when you're 80 years old, but you still look like you're 20, your brain just goes to mush. They just take you and let you die, and nobody gets mad because you don't really have any relatives. Everybody's born in a test tube, so like nobody cares. They just burn the bodies, and the wheels of production go on, and they don't pray to God. They pray to Henry Ford because Henry Ford invented the assembly line. And so it's like this dystopian future, and the kind of the protagonist is a person that's born outside of the system in what they call like a savage land, but he's just born like normal people like we are today, and he goes into this world, and it's disgusting, but like they basically sterilized everything in the world, so nobody's allowed to feel any pain. People are conditioned against seeing blood or getting sick or ugliness, or everybody just lives in this perfect harmonious bullshit. But you realize how perverse it is, and how disgusting, and how nobody works for anything, and nobody values anything. They're just kind of chugging along in this feel good fog of semi living. Really, really great, man. Brave New World. Yeah, I'm sure all your jiu-jitsu guys are going to jump right on it, bro.
I feel like Sarah has read it. I'm almost certain she's read it because I know it's around this house somewhere. I know there's a copy floating around his house.
It's some fucked up. And a buddy of mine, he's been talking to me about it. He's like, dude, you got to read this book, man. And like, it's one of his favorite. And like, I was like, all right, bro, I'll get to it. And like, it's one of those. It's like, damn, man. And the other thing I'll say about like the Victorian reading thing is like, God damn, bro, we were fucking stupid. We had like the worst vocabulary. You read some of this stuff, and like, you got to grab a thesaurus every 5 minutes. We really kind of dumbed it down, and they kind of address that in the Brave New World, how they keep everybody, even the smart people, are kind of stupid. Everybody's kind of at the third grade reading level, and the only thing they know how to do is their job. No matter how sophisticated that job is, you might be making microprocessors. That's all you know about is microprocessors. Anyway, yeah, we got off topic, bro. Sorry about that. Hope your listeners are still engaged.
I mean, the numbers keep growing, so like they like something. I don't know. I mean, I think they like that it's inconsistent. They're just like, hey.
Well, hey, man. In the secret of podcasting, it's self therapy, man. Right? Yeah. Everybody into the podcast, like, listen, man. The truth is, I might make some money off of this, or I might have a following, but I do this for myself.
Actually, that's what happened. Because when COVID hit, I couldn't train jiu-jitsu, and therapy. I was only like I'd already cut down therapy to once a month, and COVID hit, and I lost jiu-jitsu. So I had already been kind of wanting to do a podcast anyway, and just I figure, this was the time. Let's do it, and really, this had become kind of therapy for me. Just getting on here, talking with lots of different individuals, just not just,
Yeah.
martial artists, but talking with authors, talking with people who, do the carnivore diet, just
Yeah.
talking with, talking with friends. It's just like, oh, okay. And afterward, I had someone
I
ask
know.
me, she was like, how do you feel afterward? Do you feel exhausted? Because sometimes I do 2 or 3 in a day. And I'm like, no, actually, I feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you, I do miss that weekly routine of doing a podcast. Um,
yeah,
but the last year, I guess almost year and a half now, it's been busy as fuck, and slowly getting to that stable spot. But yeah, man, it is like there's nothing beats a good podcast, like recording one, folks. I mean, and nothing really beats listening to a good podcast. I got two questions
absolutely.
for you.
Yep, yep.
One, are you able to? Is your jujitsu is your dojo or whatever? Are you guys training again, or can you train with COVID limited, or are you back on the mat?
We are back open. Well, we've been open since July, in limited capacity. We're starting to kind
Okay.
of get back more to a fuller routine, but yeah, we're up and running. We have to wear masks while in there, which for me, I honestly like it because it helps force my cardio.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it forces me to pace myself. So, I'm into the weird shit. Choke me a little bit.
Mm,
Um, but yeah,
daddy.
but yeah, we're back up and running.
Second question: Have you continued listening to Joe Rogan's podcast as he went to Spotify?
Yes. I am kind of in and out on some of the episodes, but yeah, I've listened to at least the last 3. I know for sure.
And I've been listening to his podcast for at least 5 years. Got to be at least 5 years. Um,
Yeah,
But I've fallen off since Spotify, man. It's just that extra step that's got
yeah,
me like, like unfortunately, I guess I need to utilize that program more. Um, yeah, I feel like I'm missing that. I'm missing my Rogan time, bro.
yeah,
Because he's at such a wide variety of topics and conversations. And it's funny. I'm not really big on the MMA ones because I just
hmm
think like I want to listen to like a scientist or or a fucking investigative reporter or somebody about some
sure.
UFO or some Bigfoot shit. So like I'll skip that one. But every once in a while, it'll pop on. But there's still good conversations, man. Like sometimes that's the most interesting shit because they don't talk about fighting, kind of like this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Just talk about random shit. Um, and like that, so it's like you always kind of get something really good. So,
Um,
um,
there
that
the
one
whole
scientist cat that said the UFO has already been here, that was pretty good.
yeah. So he's had the guy from the who Fire in the Sky was based off of. He was on there last
Yep,
month.
Travis Walton. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, it was
that
a
was a
very,
decent one.
very, very interesting episode. And it's weird because like since the Spotify move over, I have Spotify and I really wasn't using it a whole lot. And then it's on my phone. It's convenient for me to get to. But yeah, I use different apps for podcasts, but like right now because of that, that's where I go now just to do all my podcasting because Joe Rogan's podcast is there. So all the other podcasts I listen to are available on Spotify as well. So it's like, you know what? That's fine. I keep the other podcast apps on my phone just to check mine to make sure, like, okay, is it still popping up there? And and just making sure everything's good there. But yeah, I use Spotify mainly because Joe Rogan's on there now. And even with that, like I was just saying the other day, I've been trying, especially in 2020, I've been trying to listen to podcasts that have been hosted by people I know because I haven't been able to see anyone this year.
Hmm.
So, or this past year.
Yeah,
So it kind of keeps me like I'm in the loop with things. It's like
yeah,
people that I know through jiu-jitsu have podcasts. I listen to their podcasts just to kind of, keep in the know on what's going on there. Everyone from like there are a whole bunch more podcasts that popped up through the Rimmel Collectors guys. There's so many more podcasts that popped up. So I'm just listening to their stuff, just kind of thinking like, okay, well, if I hear someone on 3 of those podcasts, it's like, okay, I can probably narrow it down to 1 instead of listening to, your 3 different shows. But everything's available on Spotify as far as I can see. So that's what I just do, is just go there. And I mean, I guess if that's what they're looking for with Joe, to try to bring ears there, from this angle, it's working, because like I said, I listen to most of my stuff there now. I still do my music on Amazon Music because I pay for that, but yeah.
You know what? I need to check that, man, because I have the Amazon, I got the Pandora. I love just fucking wasting money on these subscription services. I will say this
Same.
about the podcast. One thing that I've stopped is any political podcast. Like back in
Yes.
I want to say November. I think it was in November. I got so tired of the bullshit. I got tired of people bickering. I got tired of this divisiveness, and I just let that shit go. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't watch the news. No, that's fucked up,
Same
man.
here.
I don't watch
Same.
any political news. And I mean, I've actually deleted my Facebook page. I still have Messenger, and I've got a Facebook. I got a separate Facebook account for like my little side hobby. Give me like my gaming stuff.
Yeah.
Just my nerd stuff. And the only people that I'm there on that is just strictly nerd people. And we don't talk politics. And somebody starts talking politics, I see too much political bullshit on. I don't care if it's left, right, independent. I don't give a fuck. Boop, you're unfollowed. Boop. I want to see painted miniatures, or anybody who knows me from Nerd Rage. I'm a huge miniature game painting art nerd for that shit. If it's not comic books, if it's not movies that are coming out, if it's not painted miniatures, or some kind of, I'm getting old and sentimental. So animal videos. I don't know what it is, bro. I'll be over here and my wife be like, you watching some animal video? And I'm like, yeah, these guys put this mud and glue all over this dog, and they nursed it back to health, and it looks so happy now. getting all teary eyed and shit. Yeah, it's only happy shit, Well, I mean, I guess there's some grim dark stuff with the Warhammer 40K shit, but yeah, it's only hobby. I'm using social media for what I think social media should be for, and like there's some fitness shit in there too.
That was the thing with my, like I said, I go on Facebook and I drop a meme and I'm out. Post and ghost. I don't stick around for.
But you're throwing grenades, bro. You're throwing grenades.
Well, every so often I'll throw something out there, and it can get a little dicey, but most of the time it's just, let's put some funny stuff and let people laugh. I can't do the nonsense anymore. I'm old. I'm tired. I get headaches real bad. I should probably see a doctor, but
you should see a doctor about that. Yeah, we started using Discord about probably about a year, maybe a little longer ago. We got like a chat for my gaming group. I got a couple other chats that I follow. A lot of companies, like I love Kickstarter. One of my side businesses, I use Kickstarter and did pretty well on it. So I'm always going on there and finding some cool Kickstarter stuff. Like there's some video games that I help kickstart, and they'll do a Discord server so you can sit there and communicate. But I like that shit because I can silence that stuff. I'm not addicted to looking at it. If I want to go find something or somebody hits me up directly, I can go to one of the boards. But like my close friend group, like one's got like maybe 20 people, another one's got like maybe 10. I mean, we have a not safe for work, funny ass meme like page, and that fulfills my meme requirement. Take 2 memes and call me in the morning, like and I don't have to get any. I mean, I'll tell you, man, the best one, the meme of all memes for me here in 2021 has got to be the Bernie Sanders ones, man. The Bernie Sanders with the gloves on. I mean, those are priceless. And I don't care how you feel about Bernie; those are fucking comedic gold.
Yeah.
I can't get enough. Like when I saw him wrapped around Demi Moore taking Patrick Swayze's space on
Yeah,
the ghost scene with the pottery, dude. I laughed so hard I almost pissed myself, man. God damn, those are good. And
dude.
one of my sergeants, he came in one day and he had printed one out and stuck it on like the reverse side of my desk, like that faces the door. I couldn't really see it until I like left and came back in. Like, you motherfuckers, but I left that motherfucker up. It's great. But yeah, man, those Bernie Sanders memes are pretty good. And some of like Baby Yoda. Who doesn't love Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
So I can do Baby Yoda memes all day long, dude. How do you like Mandalorian? Back to
It
some nerd shit.
I liked it early on. Like I loved it early on. It was just something different for me. Then like most shows, it kind of took a dip for me. I think because I dove in head first and was just like wrapped myself in it, and then I was like, okay, I need a break. But once that second season hit, like the last two episodes of the first season and pretty much through all of the second season, I was in, just all in
Yeah,
again. Because the second season was similar to me in pace, like the final season of Breaking Bad. Like you
yeah,
didn't have a chance
yeah,
to breathe. It was like one thing after the other. Something's always going. It's fast paced, which worries me though moving forward though. But I'm
yeah,
not worried about the future. I'm worried about the current, and the current was really good. So I'm enjoying
bro.
it.
I'm with you, dude. Like it made me love Star Wars again. I've had two times when that first Clone Wars cartoon came out in the theater. It killed
Mm,
Star Wars for me. Like, it was so
mm,
bad. That whole Sky guy. I mean, it was just so bad. Little Java baby.
yeah,
Um, I want to say Bobby and I walked out on that, but I don't think we did. I think we talked about it. Like, we went and saw it, I think, in the Arundel Mills Mall, and it was so bad. And I was like, man, fuck, this is some fucking garbage. And it made me realize how, like, the broken parts of the prequels, right?
yeah,
And and then when the new ones, like the first new one was fine. The second new one I thought was trash. And then the last one that came out, I didn't even see it in the theater, bro, which is I think it's fucking crazy. And I
yeah.
finally watched it. I think I watched it on Disney Plus because I was like, I'm not paying for that movie. And then I got Disney
Oh
Plus for
damn.
free, and I'm like, well, not paying. I'm not paying for this, so technically I can watch this movie. You know what I mean? I'm not breaking my rules. And you know what I thought it was? I thought it was nostalgic trash. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
I watched it, and like there was some feels that like, oh, look what you did there. Oh, look how you manipulated
Mhm.
my emotions. Oh, that's nice. Um, and at the end, and like and I was like, okay, it is what it is. It's nostalgic trash. It's just
Yeah.
it's like a smut. It's like a smut magazine for nerd nostalgia. You know, it's like made for you to rub one out like every 3 minutes. You're never gonna watch it all the way through. It's like like a VHS porno tape back in the fucking, nobody watched them the whole way through. You just need to watch them 3 minutes at a time. Um, but then when the Mandalorian came out, I loved it. Like, I loved the feel of it, and then the aspect of the family tradition of like every Thursday or Friday, whenever the fuck it came
Yeah.
out, of
Mhm.
getting together with the girls, and we were excited, and they were so excited about Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda's cute as fuck. And then
Yep.
seeing Ahsoka, seeing Boba Fett, and Boba Fett finally being somewhat cool. And then
Mhm.
fucking seeing Luke at the end, bro. Like,
Dude, I'm
I
getting
mean,
chills now.
I feel like I've been waiting fucking 36 years for that fucking to see that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I always imagined in my heart of hearts. What it would look like on the live screen, and I'm like, thank you for what you did here. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited about to see where they take it. And I want to buy the fucking Hot Toys. I'm thinking about buying this fucking Mandalorian statue with little Baby Yoda like on his side. He's got some walking swagger and whatever. And if I didn't just move recently, and my wife would let me buy something like that, I'd fucking do it. Maybe when the mama don't know funds replenish. But yeah, I love it, bro. I love it. You
Like,
know,
um,
um, make Sebastian Stain, the Winter Soldier, make him Luke Skywalker, do a Luke Skywalker show
yeah,
like right after uh, a Jedi. Give me that.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like
Badass.
after what happened in the finale, it's like, okay, where do you go from here? Because you can't just have a character like Baby Yoda and then just okay, he's going away with Luke, and then that's just that. It's like no, we got to know where
Yeah.
it goes from there. Um, I'm excited for Ahsoka and see where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude,
just-
Rosario Dawson,
yeah,
she was awesome, man.
yeah,
Met her in real life. Cool, cool,
I,
cool, cool. Cool person.
so I always use your stories uh, of meeting her to justify how cool she is. When people are like, "Oh yeah, Rosario
Yeah,
Dawson's like,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah."
I'll tell the story. So Bobby and I were at San Diego Comic Con, which is big as fuck. So I can't express to you like if you walk from one side, it's so full. If you walk to one side to the other, I mean, it could take you 30 minutes of trying to walk through. Like that's how big it is. This is packed. So Bobby and I walked by her, and I was like, "That's Rosario Dawson." And Bobby said, "Nope, that ass isn't fat enough," quote unquote. I was like, "Yes, it is." I was like, "Excuse me, are you Rosario Dawson?" She said, "Yes." Like, can we get a picture? She's like, "I'd love to get a picture with you guys, but can you walk with me because I'm late already and I need to hurry up and get there." And we are like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah." And it's like then she's like, "We can take a picture of the booth. There'll be more room and everything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool." So as we're walking, Bobby had made the "Stop Snitching" shirt with the Star Wars character from A New Hope that snitched like Luke and Obi-Wan out, and the
Yeah,
stormtroopers are coming after Millennium Falcon, leaving Mos Eisley. And she during the Stop Snitching event, and if you don't know what Stop Snitching is, just look it up. It's probably fucking YouTube gold right now. Um, I was like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt. I get it." She was like, she got the joke. And so like we just like we're chatting. I don't even remember what we were chatting about, but like we just had like this like 5-10 minute walk across this really crowded area chatting with her. She was asking, "Where are you guys from?" Blah blah blah. And like, "Yeah, we're just finished up Clerks 2 and yada yada yada. And thanks. And she's like, I really appreciate you guys. Walking all this way over here to the photograph. I'm just really late, and she was so cool with her. So we walked back, and she had to talk to somebody real quick, and then we got our photo and everything. Just cool as shit. And that was really nice, man. I mean, like, you're in there with a fucking 100,000 people. She's like, "Hey, sorry, I can't. Yeah, yeah, I got to go by." And just but that was very cool of her. So, mad props to her on that one. That was Anyway, that's my Rosario Dawson. And she's a beautiful girl. But anytime you meet like famous people, um, I have this story, man. Like sometimes you meet famous people and you're like, "Oh, you're really you're really well put together. Like you're prettier in real life." And then sometimes you meet and be like, "Oh, you're all special
yeah,
effects, right?"
yeah.
And there's a couple people that I've met, um, and like I'm not gonna mention who it is because it's probably like politically charged. But I met this one, famous person. I'm like, "Oh my God, you're like beautiful. Like you're like goddamn. Like any angle I look at you, you're like gorgeous. Holy shit! No wonder you were a beauty queen." Um, But then you meet some people like, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller." Like, what's the guy's name from uh the Getaway Driver? He was in like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and he was in Snatch.
Uh,
The Kung Fu guy,
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham, dude, little fella, bro, little
Yeah,
fella. I don't. You
I've
look
heard
up his
that.
Wikipedia, says he's 6'2". That shit is not true. Like if he's 5'6", I'm surprised.
Yeah, I've always heard that he was not a very big fella.
Yeah, I
It
mean, I'm
was
sure he can kick my ass. So
well, yeah, yeah. I ain't gonna call him little in front of him. No, he'll fuck me up. I mean, easily. But
And then he'll drive away really
that
fast and get away with it.
doesn't change the fact that he sits on the curb and his legs dangle. So
That's right.
relax,
And
brother.
he had really long shoes on too, which was crazy. Like that really pointy toe fad that came in. Like motherfucker walking around little as fuck with clown shoes on. Anyway, that's my
Yeah.
that's my
Um,
story with that.
but yeah, she's like, having not met her, just hearing when I initially heard the story, I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem far fetched. I mean, she seems like she would be really, really sweet. So
Yeah,
it's always good to hear that confirmed about a celebrity. So glad to hear that because
I met
it,
I
it
met both I met both sides where like people are fucking uppity as fuck, and then people are really down to earth. You know what I mean? Like we'll stop and chat with you for like 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Which is cool, man. You know, and I get it. It could be overwhelming when you're fucking famous and you don't want to be bothered. You just want to be a real person too. But I mean, it's a
Yeah.
hard balance. But yeah, she was a sweetheart.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in that position
sweetheart.
just as a person and having, just people know you, recognize you, and then not being able to go anywhere without being bothered. But, but there are still those that they get it, they understand, they do their best to kind of weather it. I'm sure it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So good.
I had one incident where I was out with some buddies, and I had a guy that he was a buddy of mine from Canada that came down to visit me, and we were hanging out with another buddy, and we were sitting outside at this table, and this guy recognized my voice from the internet and came to the table and said, are you Adam Russman?" And I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I love your stuff. Yeah, keep it up, bro." And like, and then he left, and I looked at my two buddies like, "Dude, I did not hire that guy." Of course, my buddy's like, "Oh, I come down from Canada. You're trying to fucking show up, motherfucker." Yeah, you're trying to like, dude. I swear to God, I don't know who that guy was, man. But it was an odd feeling. It was a very odd feeling.
The minor experience that I had with any sort of recognition was at Baltimore Comic Con when we had the media passes, and I drew that shirt like with the sharp.
Yeah.
And someone yelled across the way, "Nerd Rage Radio, you guys are fucking awesome." I was like, "Oh shit!" like number one, yeah, that somebody saw the shirt, they love it. But number two, people listen to us. I keep forgetting that, like this is a thing. So I always think back to it, I was like, wow, especially in this area, it's like, okay, people do listen to Nerd Rage, but I'm always, and even with right now with BJJ Wiki, it's not a recognition thing. People don't know of me like in person, but if I ask somebody, "Hey, can I repost this to BJJ Wiki?" Whatever it may be, whether it's a meme or a technique video, and people are really nice about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, really? Like you want to use my thing?" Like, of course. I'm like, dude, like, no, like you're the one that's producing something that's really awesome. Thank you for, allowing me to use it. You don't need to thank me for posting it, because like I always tell people with BJJ Wiki, specifically the Facebook and Instagram account, that account can exist without, everyone else, because I just repost everyone else's stuff and I make sure to give them credit. But, if people tell me, "Hey, you can't use my stuff," my page can't really exist. Or, well, it could. I just have to make my own content, and my content would be trash. So I'm not going that route. It's trash.
I hear you, man. Like, yeah, my meme game is, I'm just funny enough to realize I'm not as funny as I think I am. And I've dabbled in the meme game. I will say though, I did coin the different stroke. Never mind, I might even say it. It's a bad joke. You probably know what I'm talking about. 'Cause I heard somebody else say it like 6 months. I made a joke, and I heard somebody else say it about 6 months later. Like, "Motherfucker stole my joke." But I mean, it does come down to what you're talking about. It's like it's the power of community, man. And like,
Yeah.
I can't preach enough about that stuff. It's like we are negligently, in a way, like segregating ourselves from one another because we think that social media is going to like connect us somehow, and it's just pushing us away. And I remember this one when I was first applying to a police job. I was living in a condo with 16 units total. So I mean, there probably was over 30 people that lived there because some people had kids, and I think there was only one guy that lived by himself. And the guy who I was interviewing was like, "Yeah, I need we got to do your background check now, so we're gonna need names and addresses of all your neighbors." And I'm like, I don't know any of my neighbors' names or phone numbers or whatever. I don't know any of my neighbors. He's like, "Well, so young man, I put on a suit and go knock on doors and introduce yourself." Um, and it's just like, damn, there was 30 of us living on top of each other, and I didn't know one person's name at all. That's fucking crazy, man. You know, so
Yeah.
and I mean the beautiful thing about our communities that we've you and I both fostered or created or spread it is a great thing because we people have common bonds and common interests. But I mean, find that community out your front door, man. Like that's important as well.
Yeah.
Family and friends around that area. And I do miss the martial arts community, man. I keep on telling myself now that my kids are a little bit older, now, and I have a little bit more free time. Um, I need to get back into it. I need to get back into it. Uh, and then I usually, push myself a little too hard on the bike or on the trail, and then I'm paying for it because we're getting old, bro.
Yeah.
Or great chest hairs. The next thing that comes, bro.
Like
And
you
then
said, those gray pubes hit, it's over. So,
you look down, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you don't have it no more, man. You're done. You're ready to you're ready to expire, bro. They move you out to greener pastures. Um, so, but I know there's a lot. It's amazing how many jujitsu places are around. But
yeah.
I do wonder how COVID is affecting that. I mean, a lot of the guys with gyms and everything they're getting fucked up right now. Um, and they're like
Yeah.
getting on my yoga mat or getting on my stationary bike or whatever. You need somebody unless I get one of those three-dimensional Bob Jiu-Jitsu action figures, not a sex doll. But you know what I'm talking about those like 75-pound ones you roll around with a little bit.
Actually, I have one
They can
sitting
get a
in the
little
chair
creepy.
next.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I'm actually trying to get rid of them. So if you want a grappling dummy,
Is
it's
it the
all yours.
one? Is it the one like his body's is like black with red trim? His body's a cylinder, and like he just has like arms projecting out.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. How to
Oh, there he is.
slumped over in the
Yeah.
chair.
Oh, you got a gi on him and everything. I've
Yeah.
only seen him in naked form.
See, see, those are the freaks, though.
Yeah, man. Well, bunch of dirty cops. We just beat ours up. We just got to drag him across the room.
I don't even. I
So,
think someone gave
but
a pastor sent that to me. Practically new. He couldn't use it. He got it and then got hurt. So I sent it to me and I stuffed it with like old clothes. I was like, all right. And then I think I used it twice. I was like, yeah, like I'm not like it for me. I just can't utilize it myself personally. Sophie used it a couple times when I was doing the Zoom classes, but otherwise it's just like it's not my cup of tea. So I
I
don't
got
know.
I got a question for you. So we had my oldest daughter in it was an MMA class. It was I don't want to give away the company because I don't want to talk crap about them, but like they had a pretty big complex. One side was a gym, but it was like the boot camp style type workout, which I love doing that kind of stuff. And the other side they had MMA stuff and like free weights and stuff like that. So it was cool. They had a kids martial arts class at the same time with my gym. But what always bugged me is the teacher was always like high five. Like my teacher was like shut up, don't talk. Like he'd fucking knock me the fuck out if I disrespected. You know, I didn't ask any questions. I mean, there was times where you know, he'd kick me out of the school, and he gave me 2 buckets of sand. I had to go run with the buckets of sand like in my arms in a T, or he wasn't letting me back in to get my car keys to go to work on time. You know what I mean? Like that. Like he was fucking strict. Anyway, this teacher was always like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on, buddy?" And like it was just like game time. And I was like telling my wife, I don't like this. This is not discipline enough. This is like fun time. This is not. You shouldn't be joking and smoking and joking. Well, she was like in. Oh God, I want to say she was like in second grade at the time, and she was grappling with a fourth grade boy, so 2 years older than him, and he was choking her out, and she couldn't tap, and she was like starting to fucking panic, and finally the teacher wasn't paying attention. He saw it, and he went over there and like, oh no, let her go, let her go, and it fucking traumatized her. She was crying,
Wow.
scared the shit out of her, and I got in the teacher's face like, see, this is that fucking bullshit. You guys are everybody over here is having high five time, and it's a fucking game and it's a fucking fun, and there's no discipline over there, and you're putting her with a fucking a kid 2 years old. Like, well, Mr. Russman, she was doing so well, and she she could definitely handle it. She was coming to blast. Like, no, there's no excuse, man. fucking tighten up your ship. And like I pulled her out of it after that. I was just like, I'm done. So with Sophie, are you finding it like are you gonna get her? Because I want to get them into something again. But like I gotta find something that's like that old grizzled, you know, Sinfu, you know, sensei that like I like, all right, if I leave my kid with this guy and like a you know a gang of ninjas show up, he's gonna beat all those ninjas up and protect my kid. You know, like in the '80s film. And they're not gonna get choked out by the fourth grader. So where's your journey into that? Like, you know, where are you at? Are you just like, I'll just teach it myself?
So I'm actually one of the kids' coaches at our gym, and so she's going to be going. I'm just trying to debate. I don't know that I can coach her because I think for her, I'm going to be too strict. Just
got to be strict, man.
But the thing is, I think with her, I think I'm going to be too strict to the point where I'm going to make her hate it, and I don't want her to. So I got to, because we work here at home, and I'm very strict on it here at home about it. So I'm trying to sort that out. But you know, I think like going back to, you know, the story with your daughter, though, it sounds like, you know, I'm not the perfect instructor. I don't know nothing, but it sounds like whatever's going on there with that dude, because like we have kids different ages roll with each other, but I let them know immediately, you know, there's no submissions. We're not, you know, we're drilling right now, catch and release. You get it there, then you let it go. Show that you can get it, but you don't, you know, you're not tapping anyone out. Number one. And number two, like my classes, I start off real silly, but once class is going, they know it's not playtime. You know, they know that when Coach Dante's talking, voices off, ears on, eyes up. We're not playing games right now. Then, you know, then when it's all done, you know, we get lined up by our belt rank, feet together, hands by our sides, everybody eyes up, focus. All right, let's bow out, clap out, get out of here. But and the thing is with her, I think I'm going to be 10 times stricter on her about that, because you got to come home with me. So, you know, I don't want to do it for shit.
I'm with you.
Well, but that's the plan with her.
See, I already fucked up with the running because my daughter was doing girls on the run, and then the last one we do two 5Ks back to back. So you do like a 5K practice on Friday or Saturday, and then you do the real 5K on Sunday. So I mean, you know, three and some change miles. I mean, that's, you know, for a little kid, that's a lot. And but like I'm ashamed, like, you're not gonna stop. We're not stopping. You know, we don't quit. So like, you know, the last 5K I'm running, like, no, come on, we're not stopping, let's go. At one point in time, I might have been holding her hand, pulling her along.
You're gonna do this.
And then after we were done, like, we don't quit. You know, this is why your dad's always hurting himself. God damn it, you're gonna learn the right way. And there's another guy like in there. He's like a neighborhood guy. I see him at the pool line. I don't like to cut up his jibs. Like, I'd be damned if that motherfucker's gonna beat us. Him and his daughter are not beating me and my daughter. God damn it. So she quit running after that. I'd fucking like, you know, might have made a tactical error there. You know, live and learn. She still talks shit to me about it every day. And don't go running with dad. She's like, you know, she's 14 now, and I'm talking mad shit. I wanted to stop after a mile. He's like pulling me for 2 miles.
So the trick to that is you've already lost that one. There's no coming back. So you got other two though.
She's fine. She's got other talents. We don't have to, you know, she'll get a free ride from singing in drama. I don't have to worry about that one. As long as I have to pay for college, you know, Dante. That's my whole thing. They better fucking learn how to fucking ride a bike, or, you know, kick a soccer ball, or, you know, swing a golf club. I'm not paying for college, man. I ain't doing that shit. I didn't. Yep. You know, I paid for my college and my wife's college. I ain't paying for nobody else's college. God damn it. Maybe my grandkids' college when I have a lot of money. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you got to get those other two, and just tell them don't listen to the older one. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a crazy person. Dad knows best. Just treat it that way as a fall right in line. And that older one, send her along.
Well, so Master Ken came like that Thanksgiving I told you about. Master Ken came and stayed for a few days, and he's like, "Get your ass out of here and let's work some techniques and whatnot." And so they got into it for a while. For about a week, they're like, "Dad, can you teach us some stuff?" And I'll go out there with it soon. They got no longer entertaining. But my youngest, she's a beast, and so when we were doing rock climbing before COVID, and we were getting into it and everything. And I mean, so she's the youngest, but she's as big as the middle one. She's actually probably bigger than the middle one now. She 30 foot up a rope, like nobody's business, like little Bruce Lee, boom, 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 all the way up there, hitting the rocks and everything. So that's gonna be my scrapper. She would get into it. We just got to find. We just recently moved, and so we got to find some other place around here that's a little bit closer. But definitely get her into it. So she'll be my badass. I'll have one yet. No boys, nothing girls.
So
yeah. Oh, she's definitely the most devious for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So
it is what it is.
I'm gonna go ahead and get us wrapped up out of here. It's starting to get to that point of dinner time. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. Like we got to do this again, dude. This was awesome. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
This was great. It was just good talking to you.
It was
too.
fun, man. I know. We need to catch up, man, for sure. I gotta have you guys out here. We can go actually I'm on some property now, so we actually go out there and shoot guns on my property like a bunch of fucking hillbillies.
I saw the pictures of the new place. I was looking like, God damn, like, sheesh, like, so yeah, that's fucking awesome, dude. But
it's a humble little cottage, humble little place.
I mean, everybody's definition of a humble is different. This shit is rocking though. I love it.
Appreciate it, bro.
Before I get out of here, let me just go ahead and say to everybody that's listening, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's downloads and listening to this. Make sure everybody goes out there and check out Soon to BJJ. I say it every episode. I'm going to say it again. Go check out my buddy Zach over at Soon to BJJ. He's got a project that he's working on. It should be ready very soon. He's excited. I'm excited. Also go check out the Deep Half podcast. My buddy Danny Patrick BJJ. My BJJ is okay, Jits bitch. They got a great show over there. I was just a recent guest. We got into a little bit of fuckery over there, so go check it out. And as usual, if you got any questions, concerns, want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me, bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats podcast, I think, on Instagram. You all should know what it is. I've said it before, but it should be Off the Mats podcast on Instagram. Just feel free, shoot me a message. I'm a friendly guy. I'll get you on here and we'll talk shit. Otherwise, y'all keep listening, and I'm gonna keep making these episodes. Thanks, y'all.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.